I'm sure there must be a good reason for us operating.
Jack Sparrow. He's one of the pirate lords.
All right, then. The Brethren Court is to gather in the shipwreck cove.
But I will not be going back to the log, am I?
There's never a guarantee of coming back. Passing on, that's dead certain.
Yo ho, heard it up top. We return once more to talk that cursed franchise as we return to Pirates of the Caribbean, talking the third film at World's End here on Normies Like Us. With your hosts, I'm that pirate captain that talks like this. Hey, hello, how are you guys? I agree.
And so we shall go to war.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
I'll be Mike Bosa. Hey, Mike Bosa.
Oh, and this is Captain Cobb Sparrow
Yes,
reporting for duty.
on the poop deck.
Or Jake Sparrow, I guess. Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
makes more sense.
Jake Turner.
You have
Um,
all those tattoos. You take your shirt off a lot in this one, Jake Sparrow.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have
this is
Sparrow
the,
and Swan. Two birds.
True.
Turner's also a bird.
Really?
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
realize that.
Or a tern, right? Is a kind of bird.
Yeah, I
Turner.
think that is what it is. Yeah.
And obviously, a
Interesting.
Norrington is a bird.
Right. Yes, my favorite kind of bird.
Davy Jones, a bird.
And I have birds on my
Yep.
shirt.
That's right. Hey, perfect.
Hey, your pirate shirt.
If you remember earlier, this fall, I was planning to wear my Hawaiian shirt every time we did a Pirates episode, but it just got too damn cold in the winter. So I was like, the last couple ones I didn't do it because I was like, it's too cold. I'm wearing a hoodie. But this time it's been a little warmer, so busting out the pirate shirt, ready to go.
You saying that and calling it your pirate shirt makes me want to ask you guys, how would you react if you were out in the wild right now walking around and you saw someone with a Pirates of the Caribbean shirt?
Like a merch, like a
like
franchise
like
merch
the
shirt?
poster of the movie.
Depending on the movie, I
know.
might cross the other side of the road and not make eye contact.
They would either be a super fan or maybe it's just a cool
Yeah.
design that they got.
Like you
in a
really
thrift
like
store or
Johnny
something.
that much? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're allowed to wear Johnny Depp merch like that these days.
No.
You
no.
still see a lot of Edward Scissorhands shirts, my
Mm.
friend, from a lot of goth girls out there. So I don't know.
Yeah. But, now if you really like the Jack Sparrow character, boy, we got a movie for you as we're doing, at World's End, to
right.
bring us back around.
I
Third
would
one
only
of
wear
these.
a Barbosa themed shirt.
That's fair.
That'd be cool.
personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jack Sparrow in this one. You could say there's multiple personalities
Mm.
of him.
Mhm.
Yeah, you love to see it, I
A whole
guess.
flock of them. Do you guys have you seen this multiple times? I've only ever seen it once when it came out in theaters, and that was it. Never again until now. So it's my first rewatch since 2007.
I would say perhaps this is my third time seeing it because I feel like I must have rewatched it at some point so I saw it in theaters and then at some point rewatched it, and then this is probably my second rewatch.
But so
Got it.
Mike's literally saying, like, in the teens years since he's seen this, Jacob, how many years you think you're saying? Like 10, maybe even?
Probably, yeah, probably. I probably
Yeah.
watched it like my early 20s at some point or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm literally a 3-2. I think I'm that many years as well. I'll say this. Really the only visceral memory I have, and I super remember seeing this. I saw this in theaters. I was super excited because we've talked about in our previous episodes, in our long form coverage here of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise that we're doing, that these were big movies and big exciting blockbusters and ones we were excited for. So I remember going to this and being super excited, but it was just my dad and my brother and me, and it ended, and I remember seeing the boots, like the final scene with putting the boots on and being like, whoa, and having this melancholy feeling and the lights coming up and like wanting to talk about this movie and it falling prey to the people I was with not liking it. Like my dad and my brother immediately being like, well, that ending, like they did not nail it. And me being like, oh, I guess so. So I don't know. Do you guys kind of remember your initial reactions to it?
I don't really remember what my reaction was to it. It must have just was so unimportant to me over the years that I just forgot what my first reaction was.
I think this is when I began to slowly check out of the franchise. Like the second one was already kind of rough, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
There's not all bad here, but I think it didn't. That's why I haven't watched it since. I saw it once
I
in
was
theaters and never thought about it again.
I was already kind of down on the second one, and I mean, my mantra for a long time before we started this series, I said I'm pretty sure there's the first one is the only good one, and then the rest are bad. And I kind of, in rewatching Dead Man's Chest, I did like it better than I expected. This one I did not like as much as Dead Man's Chest. I'll just say that.
Jacob, I was kind of shocked in that I was like, I didn't like Dead Man's Chest that much. And then watching this one, I was like, Dead Man's Chest was maybe a secret masterpiece.
Compared,
well, it's better than this movie, I think.
Yeah.
And, Gore Verbinski said in the making of this movie, basically, Black Pearl was more character driven. Dead Man's Chest is more plot driven. So he wanted to combine the two by having it be both character and plot driven for this one.
I disagree with him on that.
Interesting. And that's why, it's the longest one in the series, and we'll talk about that. And my first reaction was just like, this is like a million different movies in one. It's like every kind of movie they wanted to make for the third movie. Like they had to throw in every scene they could think of. And it's just very convoluted, complicated plot, lots of characters, lots of betrayals, different motivations. What are you guys' impressions?
We're going to jump into it for sure, but I'll just say real quick. The thing I was thinking about the most watching this was not about Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know about you guys. It was about a film called Return of the Jedi. And I was like, there's a lot to me that's
clearly the third is the worst of the trilogy.
Well, just the beats of like we'll talk obviously about it, but just getting through it, there just felt like a lot of the same DNA of them filling in, like, well, like you said, like we got to put in every idea we have, and like, hey, it's for the fans, it's for the fans.
Right.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that, you exploring this idea of Return of the Pirates, Return of the Caribbean concept.
Yeah, I wish there was Ewoks at the end of this movie. That would be kind of fun.
That would be cool.
True. Ewok pirates,
me, I think, this movie is 2 hours and 40 something minutes long. And I thought the third act was fun once they finally get to the final battle. I thought there was some exciting stuff, but the 2 hours prior to the third act is just, a million different things happening, and it just goes on forever, and it really drags for me. And I think that's where Verbinski is talking about this character plus plot, because he's trying to flesh out a lot of these characters in the first 2 hours of this movie. And it's interesting. It was like I was having a great time with Black Pearl. Dead Man's Chest, I was like, all right, I'm still liking this. Now this one, it's like the party's over, it's 5 a.m. and there's like still people in my house, and they won't leave.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta get out.
Yeah, like it's time.
Get out. It's time to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I say let's raise sails, catch a tailwind here. Otherwise, we'll never get to Pod's End on this one. So we'll jump right into Davy Jones' Locker. Talk Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End right after this.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. We have a magic map, and we're in Davy Jones' Locker, talking Pirates of the Caribbean 3 at World's End.
Yeah, at my wit's end. So I think Jacob's right. It's long. Like, it's character and plot, I guess, but there's too many characters, I think. But when it first started, like, it comes out the gates pretty hot. I'm like, damn, they just hung a child. Like, this movie's going crazy.
Intro.
I almost completely forgot how this started.
Yeah, the intro is dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first scene, it's a bunch of people being mass executed, hanged,
yes,
for piracy and various crimes, including a child,
Lord,
or just abetting pirates.
Started singing their pirate shanty song.
Yeah,
good.
And I agree, it's very dark for a Disney movie.
Yeah,
implying
this whole movie.
Yeah, and it is a very expensive movie. It's had the highest budget ever in film history at the time. It was the most expensive movie of all time at the time. And I would go into more detail, but I'm going to save that for my quiz, because it might be some spoilies for my quiz later. So I'll just say, it was a very expensive movie to make. And you can kind of feel the budget, because this thing is just so packed with things, and it's just so bloated. You can definitely feel where the money was spent, but was all of it necessary is really the question.
Yeah, no, it's like again, it's there's a lot of movie here. And
Yeah.
you know,
But right, it starts with this these executions. They start singing this pirate shanty, which means something about the Brethren Court and all this. There's a lot of lore that's going to be expanded in this movie
yeah,
that we're going to have to try to explain. There's this goddess Calypso that was never mentioned before now, but is a big part of this
I
movie.
was thinking about how much
Mhm.
I like One Piece and how much this movie in particular is like there's a pirate king, there's pirate laws,
Yeah,
shipwreck cove,
Mhm.
pirate brotherhoods, pirate captains against each other,
the
gods of the
9 pieces of
sea,
8. Yeah.
magic
Mhm.
fishmen. Yes, the
The
pieces
nine
of eight, like
pieces.
all the stuff woven in. We're literally still, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But it's just not working. I don't know why it's not working.
Well, it's like the first
Yeah.
movie, there wasn't all this lore. It was just kind of a fun adventure, and they didn't explain everything, and it was just fun. And then they're like, "All right, we really got to fill in this trilogy and make it this cohesive trilogy." I really feel like this one is the one where like we really need to wrap this all together.
Does it
Um,
feel like a conclusion to you?
I guess, but it also feels like they just kind of made a bunch of stuff up for this one that they didn't think of before now, and then just kind of retconning it into the storyline of like, oh, Calypso was important this whole time, and who
Yeah.
her human form is like a secret and stuff. But and then she was in love with Davy Jones was in love with her the whole time. Like that was never mentioned in Dead Man's Chest, but
Yeah.
which is weird because they shot these movies like at the same time, similar to Lord of the Rings and whatnot.
Yeah. And full spoilers for this, yes, but like the whole stuff with Calypso, it's like, well, we met this character, but we don't hear Davy Jones once say, "I was in love with Calypso," playing
Yeah,
his
there's no
piano.
hint of
Mia
it in Dead
Dalma.
Man's Chest. Like we
Yeah.
know he was in love with someone that's kind of his origin story, but they don't even hint at it, which leads me to think that they didn't think of it until
Yeah.
this
Did
movie.
did she have the necklace key lock thing as well?
Oh,
That they keep flashing to that she has in this one in Dead Man's Chest? Probably
I
not,
don't even
right?
yeah, I don't even
they
Yeah.
don't
I'd
even
be
know.
explain
curious to go
how.
back and see that.
Yeah, we still don't know how Barbosa came back or the monkey.
Right.
It's just
Well, she
Yeah.
kind
here.
of explains that you can bring certain people back, but if your soul is completely taken, like Jack Sparrow, then you actually have to travel to
Right.
the Davy Jones locker. Which let's talk about this. So obviously the cliffhanger ending of the last movie is all our heroes are teaming up and they're going to go save Jack Sparrow from Davy Jones' locker, which is basically like purgatory or hell to pirates,
Mm-hmm.
including Barbosa, who comes back to life at the end of the movie. And that's kind of where this kicks off. Is they're all well, first of all, there's a big action set piece in Singapore, right?
Yes. So we get Chow Yun Fat as Sao Fang. We have a
That's
Chinese
right.
pirate now, and I like the beginning of this idea. Like, okay, more pirates around the world. I was like, okay, that's what we can do here. So I was started out on board, but that's where we see
Yeah.
that it's yeah, Barbosa is leading the crew with Elizabeth Swan, and they're trying to get Jack
And they're
back.
trying to get the maps that would lead them to the locker, Davy Jones' locker,
World's End or whatever.
um, which is under, was Sao Feng has these maps, so they're kind of
They
infiltrating his hideout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and we'll get to it, but they use those maps and then to what? Because Barbosa says, okay, we did it. We got lost because the only way to find something is to be lost. And then they don't use those maps again. I guess they use the
They
maps
use
to
a
lead.
riddle. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like it's
never
a riddle, and
mind.
they're like up is down or something, so they have
Yeah,
to flip the ship
but that's
upside down.
later. That's to get
Yeah.
out of Davy
Oh
Jones' locker. I
man.
don't understand how they got there. I was very confused about that. But this is my first point I want to make of the Star Warsification of it all, which
Yes.
is this intro scene. This movie's opinion. I don't know about you guys, but it very clearly states to you at World's End, hey, you love Pirates of the Caribbean. And I know what that means. That means you love the character Elizabeth Swann. She is the most important character to you. We're going to feature as much as possible, and she gets this very Carrie Fisher as the bounty hunter in Jabba's palace opening
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
save what will turn out to be Will Turner as the Han and Carbonite. But really, the Han and
Oh,
Carbonite
sure.
that they're looking for is Johnny
Jack
Depp in the
Sparrow.
locker. Yes, you could
Right.
argue.
But for this
So,
scene, that yeah, I see exactly
yeah,
what you're getting
yeah.
at. Yep.
Well, Yeah, I agree. It's a very heavy, very Elizabeth Swann heavy movie, and
It's very.
through a series of wacky events, she becomes the captain of Sao Feng's ship at one point. So she's the captain of this Chinese pirate ship now, and then she
Mm-hmm.
becomes the pirate king.
Becomes the most powerful person operating on the open seas. She does a lot of swordplay in this.
Yeah.
I would love to know where she learned to do that. We have not seen her do that in a lot of these past films.
I
Right.
think off screen they just did a lot of pirate training because her and Will are now like these super experienced pirates, even though
Right.
they've only been doing it for like a very short amount of time, it feels like.
And the
but-
final scene of this movie is basically the reveal of Will Turner like screaming out like "pull the sails" and like saying like all this shipping stuff that again we've never seen him sail, or like he was the
Yeah.
blacksmith. Like
Yeah.
our characters are so far apart from where they started, and you could argue, Colin, that's good growth in a narrative. By your third movie, they should be very different characters. But what made Elizabeth Swann so cool and badass and not a damsel in distress in the first one was how smart she was. The swapping
Mhm.
of the coin and saying like, I'm Elizabeth Turner, and like pulling this whole con on people and like
Mhm.
using her wits. And this, it's like she does a sword fight and like makes out with her boyfriend while they get married. Like it's so crazy.
Oh yeah, I
It's
forgot.
so
Yeah.
crazy.
They do
Yeah,
that.
they're all super
Yeah.
good at sword fighting now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Will, you remember in Black Pearl, I said like Orlando Bloom was trying to be too cool in the role originally, and Gore Verbinski was like, "Hey, you're still like a fucking nerd. Like you're not
He
cool."
lost the war, Jacob. He lost
Yeah.
the war.
Yeah, and this
The
one
Yeah.
he's
battle's
like,
over.
"Oh, I'm fucking cool.
I'm
I'm like the
cool."
coolest
He's
pirate
like,
that ever
it's
lived."
You give me like a
and
do-rag?
Verbinski, dead in a ditch, found bullets in him that say, I am cool.
Says who's cool
Yeah.
now? A letter stuffed into his pocket. OB.
And he has a very important role in this movie where he's sort of switching sides. There's like every character has like their own secret plot. They're like, oh, I'm working with Beckett now to screw over Jack Sparrow.
Yeah,
or Jack
so-
Sparrow's trying to screw over the rest of the
When
pirates.
our third lead character has a tea scene with a British lord who's like explaining
Yeah.
like the stakes of the movie to them, you truly are like looking at your watch, like 2 hours and 45 minutes, you say. Wow, fascinating.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So we have that dark opening scene, like we said, because like all these players are involved, but Beckett now has the heart of Davy Jones and is making Davy Jones be his lackey, and then we have Barbossa and them
Yes.
looking for Jack. So there's all this. The status quo has been shaken up on the high seas.
Right. Yes,
Um,
the status quo is that basically Davy Jones is under the control of the East India Trading Company and going around and like just destroying every pirate. And like pirates are being hunted down. They're
Seems
like
like
all
the only way for a pirate to make money is to turn other pirates in. How Fang
Yeah.
says. Like,
Right.
wow, okay.
right.
So-
And he even made Davy Jones kill his beloved Kraken. Very sad.
Off-screened what was basically the Death Star of the last movie. I found that to
Yeah.
be very unsatisfying.
We don't
Yeah.
need that now. We've got Calypso. Don't even worry about
Oh,
it. There'll be
yeah.
a big whirlpool at the end.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're all off on this quest to go to Davy Jones' locker, right? Which
Mhm.
involves you have to get lost in order to find it.
It gets very, let's say, piratey, like to where they're leaning into, like even Gibbs will say stuff like, "Well, that wouldn't sound very piratey now, would it? Like we're doing this weird
Yeah.
shit on purpose." Like it's like, guys, you're too self-aware of the piratyness.
I knew a mate who had no eyes and no hands. What
Yeah.
you call him? Larry.
Larry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, so they set up this whole Davy Jones locker. Jack Sparrow's there. And I don't know how they should have done this, but the way they do it where it's like this literal place that they have to go to, it's all just very literal where it's like, oh, Davy Jones' locker is like this desert, I guess, where like ships can sail on the sand and you kind of hallucinate and see a bunch of versions of yourself or whatever, but then you can
Mhm.
get taken out of that place. I don't know, it's just very weird to have like this
Like a
purgatory
physical
place.
location.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten
Um,
where all those crabs in the Kingdom Hearts 3 that you have to collect came from, and it was this movie. And
Yeah.
man, I don't like
Well, let's
that in
talk
either
about-
iteration.
Oh, of course, because that does cross over with pirates, Mike. That's so funny. I forgot
You have to
about
collect like
that.
500 of
true.
those crabs in Kingdom Hearts 3, and that's when I stopped playing the game.
Watch
Yeah.
out, Donald. It's Calypso.
They're hanging out with Jack
Yeah,
Sparrow and
right.
Donald Duck.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Um,
no thanks.
So let's talk about our introduction to Jack
Gorsh.
Sparrow in this movie is basically they're like, "Oh, you love Jack Sparrow, huh? Well, what about like 20 Jack Sparrows?"
Do you guys recall the marketing and the way that the last
Yes.
film's posters mainly geared towards the cannibal scene? Remember, it was a lot of like Jack Sparrow with the
Right.
makeup
Face
and looking
paint
like the
stuff.
god.
Yeah.
This one was multiple Jack Sparrows. It was heavy on the trailer. It was heavy on the posters too. And they were like, we're giving you what you want. And
Mhm.
here's the defense that I remember about this is people saying, well, it only happens on the island. It's such a small part. So when it continued, I was extremely shocked.
Mhm.
Yeah, he has more like visions when he's in the hold or whatever.
He's lost his mind. Like
Yeah.
by the end of this movie, Jack Sparrow is broken and he will
Mhm.
never be fixed.
When he's going
again.
through, and I did like some of this, where he's going through this sort of existential crisis, where he's like, I mean, basically, so there's this running theme of like Davy Jones asking everyone, "Do you fear death?" Right? And
Mhm.
everyone's like thinking about their
sure.
answer of like, "Do I fear death?" Jack Sparrow apparently fears death more than anything. His ultimate goal is like, "Oh, I could be immortal. If I kill Davy Jones, I'll have to take his place, but I would be immortal." And that to me is more important than anything
Mhm.
else, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's going through this quandary of like, I could kill Davy Jones, or I could, he's doing a lot, right?
Yeah. I do have to say though, like up to the point until we saw Johnny Depp, I'm like, I kind of am glad that we have Barbosa back, and it's like a Barbosa
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of
So
course,
that's
Dead
what
Man's
works.
Chest,
Yeah.
no Barbosa until the very end. So yeah, to
Mhm.
see him in this movie, and then there's a lot of like, once they do rescue Jack Sparrow, there's a lot of like two competing captains thing with Barbosa and Jack Sparrow, where they're like both want to be captain of the Black Pearl, and they're both like ordering the crew around, and they really milk that a lot.
And we've
right?
kind of seen that before. This movie's like we've kind of seen it all before, like the double crosses and the betrayals. Like we've done
Yeah.
this, a
Well,
couple
that's why you
times
feel
now.
so betrayed that it's not just them, like your triangle again of characters going on an adventure, Mike. Like
Mhm.
when Will Turner is like still being like, and I don't care about Jack Sparrow, and I'm betraying him. And this, you're truly like, this is the third movie. You guys have to be friends by now. I'm an
Mhm.
audience member who like thinks this series is done. Like I need everything to be ironed out already.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is the movie where they're like, oh, all your favorite characters are going to be hanging out on the same ship for a large part
Yeah.
of it, and like, this is what you wanted, right? All your characters together on the same ship on the same crew, and I guess Barbosa and Jack Sparrow, they have like this frenemies thing where they kind of respect each other, but they also, they both want to be captain, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
He did mutiny Jack Sparrow and steal the Black Pearl for,
Yeah,
cursed gold. But, that bygones
this
be
is
bygones.
right.
Last time you saw me, you shot me on Isla de Morte. No, I didn't. He just
No, I
walked
didn't.
away. That's great.
Yeah.
I did like that line.
Yeah.
These were
No, I didn't.
hallucinations. She immediately like yells at them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's like,
You
no,
get-
no,
That's a
no.
very funny scene.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There is some good stuff in here.
Yeah,
But,
just a lot of stuff.
I did have a question
A lot
about
of
so
stuff.
Barbosa. So we eventually learned that there's like 9 pirate lords, and they each have this piece of 8, which is like this special token that you need to put them all together to basically involving this goddess Calypso, like I mentioned, who's been bound in human form by the first brethren court of the pirates.
Mhm.
She can only be released if all the 9 pieces of 8 are put together, which each pirate lord has their own version. What's interesting is Jack Sparrow is a pirate lord and Barbosa is a pirate lord, but in Black
Yes.
Pearl, before Black Pearl,
Oh, he
Barbosa
was
was
his first
only
mate.
the first mate to
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow. So how is he, unless he was a captain before he was first mate to Jack Sparrow, but how
Yeah,
is he one of the 9 pirate
his
lords?
lore that they were like competing captains who like after Jack defeated like absorbed his crew, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
must be
it's something like that.
Because it doesn't make sense that he would only be a first mate before this, and he only became captain when he mutinied.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also dislike like that Jack is just a pirate lord because in the first movie it feels like you're the worst pirate I've ever heard of. Oh, but you have heard of me. Like I'm not very good,
Right.
but I'm like good enough. Like I don't think he's lord material, right? He's just kind of
No.
scrappy.
There's only 9 pirate lords, and 2 of them are.
Well, I guess
Jack
it's
Sparrow and
nepotism
Barbosa.
technically.
Well,
Yeah.
and it seems like they're all from every corners of the world except the two we know like live next door to each other.
Yeah,
Well,
the
actually, yeah.
Caribbean's
Each
pretty.
pirate
Royale.
lord
Yeah.
is the lord of a specific ocean.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's like the pirate lord of the Atlantic,
The
pirate
Indian
lord of the
Ocean.
Pacific. The
What would you
Indian
guys want to be? Antarctica?
Yeah, yeah.
The Arctic?
There's
Mhm.
one that's like the pirate lord of the Black Sea. I think that would be kind
Yeah.
of cool.
That's cool.
Something
Yeah,
One
like
guy
yeah,
said
yeah.
his name was the Gentleman. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's like a French guy. There's like a
well,
Chinese
his name
woman.
was the Penniless Pirate. Jacob, I don't know that I'd want to be the
Yeah.
French guy.
Right.
What do you think that means? He was so proud of it. I'm the penniless pirate.
He gives it all back
don't
to
know.
society, maybe. You know. He's,
Oh, maybe he's a Robin
he's like
Hood.
a
That's
Robin Hood.
interesting, Mike. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Just
I
spends
like
it
And
all
then
on
there's
baguettes.
Keith Richards, who is the pirate
Yes.
lord, who's the keeper of the pirate
Pirate-
code.
Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, but he seems to be. I mean, I guess he's a pirate lord like the other pirate lords, because there's no pirate
He-
king. Because as they go on to describe,
He's in the way that they later will elect Elizabeth Swann to be their king. He is the Supreme Court, Jacob. Where I think like he's fucking things up on the side. He's
Mhm.
just like doing
Yeah.
whatever he wants, and like.
but it
we're
seems
all
like the
just
rest of the
bowing to him.
pirates are like scared of him.
Yeah.
He's very menacing. But this is another thing I find funny is like in Black Pearl, they're like, oh, the pirate code. They're more like guidelines, you know. And
Yeah.
then this
Now
one,
it's
they're like,
the
if you don't follow the
Brethren
code, I will
code.
fucking
Yeah.
kill you.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
The thing about the fucking corporations, they don't follow this loose set of weird rules we came up with. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I
But
don't
literally,
like.
if you question the code, Keith Richards will shoot you.
Yeah. So this part of the world building I do not like. Like the council and the pirate lords. Like I don't think this is. It's adding too much structure. I think
Yeah.
to what should be.
Well, that's
you
why
know.
Black Pearl was so good because it's more
Yes.
open ended, where it's like you can imagine anything you want. It's not all laid out for you. And this one, they're like, we're really going to define this world.
By building the world out, they made it
Yeah.
feel smaller, right?
Yeah.
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 That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not a fan of that. And I guess we also have no one knows who Calypso is really. So Sao Fang gets confused and it's like, you got to give
Yeah.
me Elizabeth because I think she's
It's a big plot
Calypso.
point,
Yeah. So that's a whole thing
which
too.
leads to her becoming Pirate King.
Which I need to
Um,
touch on a little note here because there's like a really famous Chinese pirate woman. She was like married
Yes,
to a
that-
pirate and took over, and like that would be a
That's
way
who
cooler
that lady
character.
is. Well, that the Chinese lady
Right.
pirate lord is based on that
Oh,
real pirate,
sure.
I believe.
But I could see a plot point being better that like that's who they meet in Shanghai, and then she's like, "I respect you, Elizabeth Swann, putting up with all these asshole guys. Am I right?"
Hey,
You know,
boy,
and they
I'll
kind of
just
have a
be honest.
camaraderie.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just be honest with you guys. Having this like white star who's like, like in Oriental outfits like the entire time or Asian
Yeah.
inspired
It's a
outfits.
choice.
The whole time I just kept thinking, God bless that the fucking Christmas tree I had growing up was her in a wedding gown. Because if it had been her in one of these problematic
Yeah,
outfits, I
yeah.
would have been devastated. If you go to the Wikipedia for the character Elizabeth Swann, it is a picture in this
Her wearing
Chinese
that Chinese
pirate
hat.
outfit.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
It's
Oh,
I like,
geez.
she looks pretty good in it, but I mean, she looks good
Yeah.
in most things.
yeah.
But,
Anyway, I just wanted to be sure to shout
yeah.
out Zhang Yi Sao, the coolest pirate lady. to
Right.
ever
Oh,
pirate
cool.
lady. Yeah. Anyway.
I
but
watched.
again, sorry, good.
I was just gonna say I watched Big Trouble in Little China recently,
Mhm.
and that is a
Great
film
movie.
that is a fun movie that has an exciting ensemble of Asian Americans who you feel bad when you see like magical monsters like destroying them by the third act. And in this movie, it almost just kind of seems like almost like a bit racist that they like have them around truly just to be like the fodder to get killed by like all the bad stuff. So I don't know.
Right.
There's some red shirting happening with that
Yes,
crew.
that's a
at
good way
least.
to
You've got
put it.
the you got the East India British soldiers. You've got Davy Jones's men. But this plot
Arlong?
point is what Arlong. I
The
wish
fisherman?
Arlong was with them.
Yeah.
There's basically I feel like there's one that looks a lot like him.
Yeah,
already.
definitely.
There
Yeah,
100% is.
Mhm.
Or a saw. What is it? Sawtooth shark.
Sawfish.
Sawnose.
Yep.
The plot point, that I find really dumb about this, when I say this movie is convoluted, it's the whole Sao Fang taking Elizabeth because so you hear this, the goddess Calypso. It could either be this white lady who just became a pirate like a year ago, or it could be this voodoo witch lady.
Mhm.
Who do you think it's going to be? apparently he thinks it's going to be Elizabeth. So he's like, okay, we'll take Elizabeth. She's the true form of Calypso. Then he like just dies, and he's like, oh, sorry. Or first he tries to like
He
I don't
tries to
even
he tries
sexually
to
assault.
R.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
R.
with the big R, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then he
pirate
just dies, and he's like, "Oh, sorry. I guess you can be captain of my ship."
Yeah.
So imagine, I want to point this out more clearly, Jacob. Imagine I tried to kiss you and you slap me, and then I get hit by a cannonball, and I'm like, come here.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not gonna. You just tried to kiss me, but no, she very willingly is like, what? What is it? He's like, yeah, you want to be the pirate queen?
She does
Right.
use her wits in that scene a little bit though, where she catches on to like, oh, he thinks
She
I'm her.
pretends
It's
to
not
be
the greatest writing, but
Calypso.
she like
Well,
does
yeah.
use a little bit of her cleverness there to
So
lean in.
the Tiadala thing, it comes, and I can't. Am I saying her name right again? Is
Tiadama?
it
Tiadalma.
Tiadama? Thank you,
Tiadalma, I think,
Tiadama.
yeah.
The Tiadama thing, it comes so far out of left field. Now, Jacob, you say this is a bad plot point, the hint that it's Keira Knightley. Here's what I was thinking the entire time. How interesting would this be? Remember earlier in the last one where I was like, how cool would it be if the Lord Dad, Jonathan Pryce, was setting up this whole thing of like, I don't, you can't go to the sea because your mom is a magical creature. Wouldn't it make more sense that, like, what if Keira Knightley did buy into it here and was like, oh, I am Calypso, and she doesn't believe herself, but by the end of the movie learns, oh, wait, my mom is Calypso, and, like, meets her. Even if it was, like, a random character, because then at least that would be set up with the Jonathan Pryce thing of him saying, like, oh, I'll tell your mother, like, you say
Yeah.
hi to her.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
That could be interesting because then we end up with an echo of the leader of the Flying Dutchman and a Calypso love.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
by
We
the end.
had 3 nice films where each of our lead characters, parent was the special thing, and then, our little trilogy is done. I just
Yeah.
thought that would be a nice way to close the book on it. But, maybe too obvious,
Well-
obviously.
Yeah.
Too logical, I
Speaking
think.
of Jonathan Pryce, her father,
Mhm.
I did really like this moment where they're trying to leave Davy Jones' locker, and they see all these like dead people in the boats going by them. That's a really great scene. And then like the gut punch of seeing her
Mhm.
father, and she's like, and then she's realizing that her father is dead and is going to the afterlife.
The way that she does it,
Right.
of, oh, great news, we've crossed over, we've made it to the other side.
Yeah.
Father, fantastic news, Father. And for Johnny Depp to just be like, you fucking idiot. You
Mhm.
know we didn't cross
But
over.
I think
What are
she's
you
almost in
talking
denial
about?
by seeing her
Yes.
father there and not accepting it at first. But then
Right.
we get like a rare moment where Jack Sparrow is like being like really serious with her and being like trying to let her down easily that her
Mhm.
father's dead. And I kind of like that moment. I was like, oh man, that was some.
I did too.
That's a good
I don't
moment.
like that it's off screen again, and that like the stuff just happens off screen. Like they allude to it, like, maybe he's not useful anymore, and then we see him in the boat. But it's like
But that makes
in a
seeing him
vacuum.
in that scene
I guess
better
so.
because you don't know that he's dead yet. So that you see
But-
him, you're like, oh
Fair.
shit, he died.
It seems so sinister when Norrington kicks him off the boat. Do you guys truly believe he was not either culpable or even the executioner of Jonathan Pryce's character?
I don't think Norrington wouldn't have wanted to kill
Okay.
him because
There's that scene he's
they're friends.
wagging the special sword right in front of his face as he's like, what are the new orders? And he says execution. And you're like,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it cuts to him on the little boat, being kicked out of the country. And then, like Mike
Right.
said, he just gets off-screen killed. It's very strange.
Mhm.
Basically Beckett told Norrington and other people that he's going back to England, but then he's just dead.
It was probably that rogue guy that he keeps employed.
Yeah,
his second in
his
command.
his little.
It's heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Can't remember what his name is, but yep, it's that guy.
No,
He doesn't get the best death scene in this movie though. I think Beckett has my favorite death scene probably.
Oh, I
which-
couldn't even tell you how he dies. Yes, but Tom Holland,
Tom Holland,
death.
yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
I have
Spider-Man's
a funny
death.
story about
Yeah.
Tom Hollander too. Is that I saw this interview with him recently where he's like, yeah, they sent me one of Tom Holland's checks for Avengers by accident. It was more money than I've ever seen in my life, and that's just that's not his full salary for that movie. That's just
Wow.
one part of it. He's like, I've never seen so much money. So
You
sorry,
You know
Tom
what's funny
Hollander.
about
Yeah,
that though?
2 extra
Yeah.
letters, too many.
That's Disney. I bet he's in their accounting pay system because of these films. So I'm sure somebody just hit the enter wrong, one person above the payroll company.
Right.
Yep. Wow.
That's so funny.
I guess he's not getting that much for guest
I would
starring in
never tell anyone
The
that,
White
and I would
Lotus.
cash that check immediately.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That was
yeah, they
me.
probably won't notice that.
Like
Yeah.
$1 million. Jesus Christ.
That's a real pirate move.
Yeah.
Just cash it and
Yeah.
get the hell out of Dodge.
It's
Uh,
good business, Mike.
Yeah,
just
there
good
we go.
Business.
It's just good business.
Yeah. So
It's hard to go beat by beat, but yeah, even
Well, they
There's
get
so
out of,
many beats is the incredible thing. This
Yeah.
film has the number of plots where truly the Calypso thing could have been its own Pirates of the Caribbean movie. The fact that instead we do the Davy Jones locker, which in my mind I remembered getting Captain Jack Sparrow to be a much longer plot to this film. When I hit pause and that was the first 30 minutes of a 2 hour and 45-minute movie, I was absolutely shocked on what the rest of this was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And it's mostly just a
question
lot
about,
of talking about I'm gonna kill Davy Jones. No, Davy,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well, then it's just a lot of betrayals.
Yeah.
Now the fact that it's called Davy Jones Locker, and I know that's what it's called in real life, but
Mhm.
we find out, obviously Davy Jones was just a regular man before he was turned into a squid guy. So at one point he was just a normal sailor or whatever. But so why is it called Davy Jones Locker, or what was it called before that? Was it just called the Locker?
Yeah.
Before he was alive,
He invented that dimension, maybe.
I guess. I mean, I guess
Maybe.
his job officially was to ferry people to the afterlife, basically, but he gave up on doing that to just become a squid man instead, is what they kind of
He
explain.
became a squid man because he wasn't ferrying people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
properly.
is his punishment. I also do want to remind everybody that an infallible truth about the universe of Pirates of the Caribbean, it's not just the getting lost to get found was the way to get to Davy Jones' locker. They do have to go off the edge of the world. The planet is flat in this universe,
God.
of course, just like our world.
Yep.
Yes.
Everybody knows
Accurate.
it's the truth. The
Mhm.
Earth
Yes.
is flat.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah,
all
they
know
go
it.
off the flat Earth. They do all these hijinks, and we get
Yeah, they get to the waterfall and they're all freaking out, and Barbossa's like, "Let's go."
This is
It's
fun
the
as
edge of the
hell.
world, mate.
It's
Yeah.
should we
In my
prep for
mind,
this?
truly, of the two scenes I remembered, the boot thing at the end, and then I was like, oh, right, to get there, they have to flip the ship. So then when
Yeah.
it wasn't that, I
To
was
get
like,
out, they have to flip. the
oh,
ship.
I bet that's like the fourth or fifth movie. But then when
Yeah.
Johnny was doing it, Jacob, I was like, oh, it's like this. It's like for even still the same part. Like either just be done with it or don't. Like the Davy Jones locker part was either too long or too short. It
Mhm.
should have been either the length of a Jabba scene in the beginning, a quick 15 minutes to get all your
Right.
characters back together,
Mhm.
or it should have been half the fucking plot that he's
Well,
the MacGuffin.
Mhm.
Yeah, and again, the Sao Fang thing is the Jabba Palace, like you
Yes.
said, the first action set piece in Singapore.
Mhm.
And then they spend longer. It feels like they spend more screen time getting to Davy Jones' locker than they actually spend in Davy Jones' locker.
Yeah.
You get one scene with Jack Sparrow,
the
and then they
truly-
get there, and then they leave. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Are you real?
thing that is frustrating about it, and Mike pointed it out when he said the crabs that we all forgot were so surprisingly mobile.
Mhm.
When they get to the fucking Davy Jones locker and everybody takes one step off and goes, oh, there he is. The crabs brought him over here. Okay, let's go, guys.
Yeah.
You're like, so the puzzle was the journey getting there. We're not even going to have an adventure on the fucking island that has
No.
everybody else going through a mind trip, or
Yeah, we're not gonna do some weird dimensional.
yeah, it's like
stuff.
conquering their
Mhm.
fears, or
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
It's
so
just like a bunch of sand
it's-
dunes.
here's what I find shocking about the thing you said that Gore Verbinski said, Jacob, the marrying of plot and characters in this film. Because to me, the last film felt so much like what we discussed of inserted plot action scenes, of just constantly going
Mhm.
it's been 10 pages, let's have them roll on another thing. Whereas this film feels so much more plot. I would argue that made that last movie so character heavy, and that this film is so much like they have to do this, then they have to do this, then they have to do this. But when they're actually executing the plot in this movie, they're all basically just going okay, well, we have to do this thing. Oh, we're here. We did the thing. Okay, well, we
Yeah.
have to go and do the other thing. Okay, well, this thing's done
Mhm.
now.
It feels like
It's
they're
so
just going from
frustrating.
one plot point to
Yes.
another without really kind
Yeah.
of dwelling on anything for too long.
There are
But
like
none of
three.
the action in this feels like it's inserted or too heavy. Like it feels very
No.
character earned and stuff, but it also just feels like there's just not enough going on to fill out these scenes to like define them more or whatever.
Well, there's
I don't
almost too many characters and too much going
Yes.
on because I feel
Yes.
like the middle is so draggy because it's just all these scenes of like characters talking to each other and like explaining their motivations and stuff.
And it's
Mhm.
like, again, I said it up top of like the fan service. Like this movie is like for the fans, for the fans, for the fans. And you go like, well, here's the thing, Colin. Like another movie's not gonna give the wooden eye guy a moment to be like, only a lover can, and you like let that character like have this moment where he's like, look, I'll whisper to Calypso, and like I'm having this like huge big pop as like number 12 on the call sheet. But then you kind of go like, but like other movies are better because they're not wasting time on that the 14th or 15th character to pop. Like it's frustrating to argue for and against.
Yeah.
Intel and Rigetti, my favorite characters.
Yeah.
They're really the C-3PO and R2-D2 of this
Yes,
series.
yes.
So to give them so much screen time,
two stormtroopers. They are now at that status.
Yes.
Like truly, the bald guy when he's like, "I thought I'd just make a play to be captain too." You're like, okay, like if I hear again from you in like 5 more minutes, I'm gonna be upset, dude. Like you need to be on a timeout.
We have too many
I do like
people.
how Jack Sparrow just like hates those two guys basically.
Well, excuse me. He does say who came to rescue me out of sheer love for me, and they are 2 of 4 people who raised their hands, and he says, I'm gonna go stand by those guys.
Yeah. So that was a good
basically
bit.
because no one else likes him.
Yes.
But then you even have the 2 British guys from the first movie that are like the
yeah.
British version of those guys that are like
Yeah.
truly the 2 stormtroopers, and they bring them back.
That's what a wild choice that was.
Yeah.
They're like, remember these 2 characters from the first movie? You guys loved them from that one scene.
When Jack Sparrow says, Cotton, good to see you. Cotton's parrot, I'm a little iffy, but I'm happy you're here because I'll have somebody to talk to. I mean, truly, everyone is getting moments, and not just moments to shine. Like, there'll be times where you feel Gorvinsky being like, we got to give Cotton 5 minutes. Like, what do you want to do in this movie?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, even Marcel, we got Jack the monkeys running around with fireworks and stuff. Like, everybody has moments.
Jack gets like 5 pops in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
he pulls a gun on Cotton's parrot.
This is the best Jack the Monkey movie. I mean,
I would argue.
He saved other Jack.
We'll
right,
see. We'll see if 4 or 5 top it, dog. But arguably now, this is the best Jack the Monkey.
Yes. There are 3 movies here, though. It's like either we need to get Calypso, freeing Calypso the movie, or it's Norrington controlling Davy Jones the movie. You know, and why is Davy Jones on a pirate lord? Like,
will the pirates vote to release a goddess? Will our main characters choose the bittersweet apple that is immortality by servitude? And then will our heroes like kiss by the end of the movie? Is kind of like the other plot.
Yeah, there's also this whole thing where Will and Elizabeth aren't getting along because of what happened in the last movie. And they're not like speaking to each other at the beginning, and they're like going through some troubles, and by the end of it they make up and they get married. So
my theory in the last movie was that was a film about a woman's budding sexuality, and I was very impressed that movie had such adult themes. It seemed like I argued quite a bit that there were some very sexual references for Keira Knightley's Elizabeth Swann character. I would argue this movie is very much about her being like, husband, are you ready? Should we have sex? And he's like, I've got to go to the gym with my buddies, though. I'm so busy. And him constantly avoiding his wife for made up reasons.
Well, they're not on the same page. They both have like competing schemes that they're trying to do. And also Will has this whole thing where he's like, I need to save my father. And to save my father, I need to kill Davy Jones. But then I'm choosing between spending my life with my wife
Jack Sparrow? Well, if I told you, your heart would be broken, so I burdened it myself. You want to save your father? Yes, and if I told you, I would be burdened, and it's sad, and I'm sad, and you're sad.
Let's just have a conversation, please. Yeah, it's one of those big misunderstandings.
By the way, Elizabeth, like you said, they make her wear these Chinese pirate costume, and in the beginning, there's this whole bit where they're like taking the guns and stuff at Sao
Dog.
Fang, and they make
So
her have no
okay.
pants.
Again, the empowering nature of Carrie Fisher's character to literally be desexed, that she is playing like
like a
an
bounty hunter.
alien bounty hunter, that you don't even
Yeah.
see her fucking face.
Mhm.
And she gets the scene where she has the bomb and she's like, I will fucking blow this place up. Don't even threaten me, Jabba the Hutt. And that it's so cool. And you imagine Keira Knightley being like, I want something like that. I want to feel empowered. And Gore Verbinski's like, in the opening scene, you'll be stripped down to your panties
Mhm.
and you will be embarrassed in front of a room full of men. And it's like,
kind
it's
of the,
like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
The ongoing theme with her is that like people underestimate her because she's like a young, attractive woman, but then she proves that she's as competent as any other pirate because then they get the swords thrown up from under the ground, and then she starts fighting, and there's like, oh shit, she's like a really good swordsman or whatever. So,
but not as
I
bad
guess
at
that's subverting that the
right.
sexism of it, I guess.
When she gets to pull like a big giant gun out of her butt and stuff too, so you know.
Yeah. Also, the sword throwing scene is literally when R2D2 throws Luke
the lightsaber. Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Correct. Nice.
And
all
it's
right.
and it's those fucking
But
Pintel and
can I-
Ragetti
but-
that is doing it.
Can I say real quick, the way that the editing and writing works, what you like about Return of the Jedi is you as a viewer aren't keyed into Luke's plan, like the head nods, the execution. Once it goes off at the end, you're like, what a cool opening scene that was. The fact that Mr. Gibbs is constantly saying to Big Eddie, like, we're bringing the swords in because we're going to toss them the swords if they need the swords. You're like, hey, just let the movie like play out. Like, just like push the movie forward.
The amount of explaining what people's motivation and role is in all of this, it's a lot of
fascinating.
This. Yeah,
a lot of exposition.
And I feel
can you imagine also, sorry, real quick, just being a 50-year-old character actor, which I imagine Mr. Gibbs is, and all of a sudden you're getting like 30, 40 lines in the third fucking blockbuster, you know, and you're sharing the screen with like all these fucking titans of acting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I do like the Gibbs character still, even like up to this point. Like, you know, good for him.
Yeah, I've always liked him. He's holding his own with Jeffrey Rush and Johnny Depp, and
I feel weird when I see Davy Jones talking to Beckett or whatever, and it's like, this is normal. Like, this is fine.
This is a
like,
squid
does
man.
England know that there's a squid man? Like, does the Queen know?
Yes,
Or
have
the
your
king?
tea.
Yeah, like,
There's
it's a little
something
bizarre.
about how like Davy Jones is like this villain, you know, this big scary villain, like especially in the last movie, and then in this one, he's just basically the real villain is just this like uptight bureaucrat that like is now controlling him. It's very like strange.
No, I don't really like the optics of that. Yeah, he's just.
But it's kind of saying like, what's the real power in the world? Like this rich British guy can just control this squid monster guy.
You know what I was thinking about?
Right.
I was truly applying it to literal like internet piracy, thinking that like this movie could be like a huge metaphor just for that. That it's like all these people trying to torrent things. We're the last Shipwreck Cove, aka you BitTorrent. We're the last Pirate Bay, Mike. We're the last bastion of, and you know, it's literally just this like the government is coming. There's, you know, the FCC says this must all be regulated. You little bandits out there, you can do your thing, but like, we'll buy the domain that is Pirate Bay. I own the Flying Dutchman, and I'll send Davy Jones after you to destroy all you other torrenters.
Show me your users' IPs, Davy. Yes.
This is Tron 4, Mike, or Tron 3.
Right.
And it's all Disney coming for you. At the end of the day.
He's really controlling the worst pirate to kill all the other pirates.
It's just strange to see a squid man, and it's like, again, does the king or queen know that this is a reality?
I would love
Pirate
to see
magic is real.
Him
again, the
sending the
escalation.
report to the East India Trade Company. Dear CEO, business is booming. The magic heart that we keep in a locked treasure chest and threaten with muskets every day is keeping our monster in charge.
Davy Jones has killed his Kraken.
Squid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, I made him murder his
The
special
Kraken has
toy.
been dispatched.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But again, I feel like
What
that
is
is
this?
what like Imperial Britain would do if they got their hands on a fucking squid guy.
True.
Like
True.
Davy Jones. But the escalation of like supernatural elements from the first one, where it's like it's mainly just a straightforward like period piece, but then there's this one
curse.
thing, the curse, where they're undead or immortal or whatever.
Mhm.
And now it's like we've got Calypso, the sea goddess. We've got Davy Jones, the
Well,
Squid Man.
Jacob, I would argue so much so that the importance of these nebulous other magical things that could exist in this universe, that literally our Lord Covington character goes like, but the important thing is we don't know what these 9 pieces of 8 could do. That it could be like a magic nuke that could, like we
Right.
must figure that. Like he's literally every choice he's making at the start of this movie is just in fear that something could be more magical than Davy Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has kind of been fascinated with what could the pirate magic be, all of it,
Right. Well, he's just trying to control the whole
Yeah,
globe, I guess, or the
shipping
The flat Earth.
that's right. We got to control the flat Earth.
All 4 corners of the flat Earth.
I need to get the sugar from here back to England. Okay.
It's a straight line.
And I'll use my
Right.
squid monster to defend our,
Yeah.
Okay.
money
Yeah.
properties.
I'm in
Rum.
like the Royal Navy. That guy's like a hammerhead shark.
Yeah.
We have the same job.
Yeah, like when all the British crewmen are on the same ship as Davy Jones's men, it's like very funny.
Yeah. It's
when
like
Norrington is barking orders, it's very funny.
so.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah, they should be. They become privateers, so like they need to give Davy Jones a little uniform for the British Army and like dress all those fishermen
I'm
up.
surprised he doesn't have that. That would have been a very funny touch, Mike.
Well, like
You'll
that's,
wear the army's colors for the Queen and King.
or we'll stab your heart. Like honestly, that would be
don't
more
want to
effective.
do it. I can't do a good Scottish.
It basically is
Davy
he's
Jones.
emasculating Davy Jones
Oh, that
throughout
was
this
good.
movie.
Yeah.
And I do like, again, this second in command guy that you guys say you don't remember his death. Let me remind you his death scene, because throughout this movie he's like trying to like basically make Davy Jones his bitch, right? And be like, I'm the captain of the fucking Flying Dutchman. Davy
Mhm.
Jones is like, I'm gonna fucking kill this human the first chance I get.
Play
Yep.
my piano.
Yeah.
Boy.
But then when they're getting
It's good.
basically, I think it's towards the in the final battle at some point, there's like a cannonball that comes, and basically Davy Jones like saves that guy, right? Because he like
Mhm.
saves him from like getting hit by some shrapnel or something. But
Yep.
then he's like, oh, all these other British guys are dying. Let me just fucking choke
Yeah.
you with my tentacles, and his tentacles go like in his mouth and
That's
out
right.
his nose and stuff.
Yeah, he does do that.
remember
That's
that?
right. This is a
No.
kids movie.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So he gets tentacled to death.
That's right.
Just
Yeah.
just while we're praising Davy Jones real quick, we do get to see his original look and like a non-special effect Bill Nye. I gotta say, he looked fucking dope as fucking hell as the OG Davy Jones.
Yeah.
I did like with the Calypso scene when he's talking to her or whatever. If he kind of lifts
And then
the
when
curse.
he turns back into
Yeah.
transition back into
I-
Squid Boy.
We were finally gonna kiss after 10 years and you weren't there. And she's like, baby, you know I get hot and cold. And it's
Yeah,
like
you know.
her only excuse. And
It's
he's
my
like,
nature.
I fucking love you still.
It's like
Yeah.
I took on this
I
job
get it.
for you. Like, come
I
on.
100% get it. I am with Davy Jones on that one.
Yeah,
You
it's
got to
just a-
cut that girl out of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to turn her into a sea crab.
See, and if he had a piece of 8 and he's like, I'm not bringing her back, she like, why would I do that? She scorned me, but we need her to stop the British. I don't know. Like there could be something there, like a conflict where
Yeah.
he's like, I
Yeah.
was too hurt to
Well,
bring
of course, we
Calypso
find
back.
out the real reason why she brought Barbossa back is because he's sort of like secretly working to release her as part of like, I guess, the bargain to bring him back.
Like
Mhm.
your lieutenant. Yeah.
Yeah. But essentially, so all these pirates are going to Shipwreck Bay, where they're going to convene the Brethren Court of the Pirate Lords. And so here's where we get
Which is
kind
not
of
the same as
everyone-
Shipwreck Island, or
No.
Yes, that's when we get the lazy line.
Yeah.
And it's in Shipwreck Ocean by Shipwreck Bay.
not to be
Shipwreck
confused with
Cove.
Shipwreck City, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, everyone is here except for Will, who's still hanging out with the British for some reason.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth and Barbossa and Jack are all here, and they're all pirate lords now, of course.
Mhm.
And we get this big meeting where we meet all the other pirate lords. We meet Keith Richards as what's even his name in this? But he's Jack Sparrow's dad, obviously.
He does have a name. Oh, Captain Teague.
Teague,
Captain
yeah.
Teague.
Yeah, Captain
So
Teague.
why doesn't he have the same last name as his
Is it
son?
Captain Teague Sparrow, do you think?
Could
Let's see.
be.
I'm gonna look.
Um,
So they're good.
I'm
They're
sure,
yeah.
surely there are a series of YA novels that are about like teenage
Yes.
Jack Sparrow. I kid
would
you
hope
not.
so.
I
Oh. Yeah.
guarantee there are.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, this is a reference because, of course, Johnny Depp based his character Jack Sparrow very heavily on Keith Richards as well as other rock stars of that era. And so Keith Richards, who was a friend of Johnny Depp's as well, just in real life, they wanted to get him a cameo.
What could they possibly have in common?
Well, they love rock and roll, I guess. Doing drugs or whatever.
The style,
Yeah.
the lifestyle. You could say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like when he shows up and he's like, "You're in my way, boy." And like Jack Sparrow's like afraid of his dad and stuff. That's good stuff, you know.
What do you think about the mom voodoo head, Mike?
Oh, I mean,
That's kind of silly.
that's silly. But not as silly as just playing guitar on randomly. But you know,
Now
I like
the
that he's
dog
just
Gotta
comes
let him.
back with the
Yeah.
keys. Now, Jacob, you pointed out that dog with the keys is from the ride that this whole thing
Yes.
is based on, right? Is
Yes.
this stuff
Sea
like
turtles, mate?
oh no,
We
yeah.
get there's 500 references to
Oh,
the sea
yeah.
turtles in this movie.
Well,
I did not like any of
every
those.
catchphrase or line from the first two movies is called
Savvy, parlay.
And the
Yeah.
rum is
but-
gone.
but-
yeah.
Are these scenes in the shipwreck cove like the convey, the convergence of the pirate kings here, the Captain Teague? Like, are these
In
the ride? It felt
no,
very ride.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Because
Just
this was
taking
all
the
just
audience
made
for a
up
ride.
after, like made up for this
How
movie.
about the name? Get the book. It was made by Morgan and Bartholomew. I would assume that's Black Bart and Captain Morgan, like the
We have
true,
Morgan and Bartholomew are real pirates. Yeah.
Yeah, the OG pirates. The guy who made the
Yeah.
rum, of course.
Yes,
who
of
we all
course.
love.
Captain
Yep.
Morgan, right?
That's
I mean,
correct.
he was a real captain.
Well,
Yeah.
Caribbean is known for producing rum, you know, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Well, we
but
could
they're
go to
all-
port. I prefer rum.
Yeah.
Let me stand here with my foot on this barrel like this and pose.
Is this cool? Is this cool, guys?
Remember when those were the commercials when we were in like high school? Was
Yeah.
stand and do the
Put your leg
the
up.
Captain Morgan pose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course,
that's
our friend
funny.
Joe, you know, of course, we're friends with him a long time. He likes rum, but he prefers Sailor Jerry's
That's
to Captain
right.
Morgan. He's a Sailor Jerry's
Yeah.
man.
Well,
Mhm.
Bootstrap Joe, we should say. We all remember what happened.
That's
to him.
right.
It's a sad story.
Yep.
Yeah, Sailor Jerry's. Was he a
Sailor
real sailor?
Jerry's.
Probably.
Probably guaranteed.
Yeah, maybe.
Jerry.
I think he was a squid that played the piano.
At the very least, he's that conch
Jerry
shell.
Jones. Oh, that's the owner
Yeah.
of the Cowboys.
Oh, that's right.
Anyway, so they all convene the fourth Brethren Court of the
Mhm.
Pirate Lords. And of course, they're all arguing amongst themselves about
Sorry,
what to
real quick.
do.
Kraken,
Yeah.
also a spiced rum. Keep going.
Yes, correct.
Yes, Kraken, black spiced rum. I like
That's right.
Kraken. But yeah, they have
That's our
this
sponsor.
existential threat of basically Beckett and his forces and Davy Jones are all coming after them. And this is like the last stand of the pirates at Shipwreck Cove. Do they fight? Do they run? Like, what are they going to do? They're all arguing about it.
The law says a fight could only be declared by the pirate king. And the rules are
Yes.
that there's never been a pirate king because one
every
of us would
pirate
have to vote.
Just votes for himself.
Yeah.
Then, of course, Jack Sparrow, he has his ulterior
Savvy.
motives. Savvy.
Mm-hmm.
So he shakes it up, right? Because they all vote for themselves, and then it gets to Jack Sparrow, and he votes for Elizabeth Swann, making
Mhm.
her the pirate king.
I vote for myself.
Yep.
No,
yep.
that guy has like a manservant who says it. So then
Yeah.
later,
Yeah.
when they're like, "We
That's
must
the
go
funny
to
reveal.
war,"
That's right.
You're right. It was good.
But yeah, we have Captain Teague, the keeper of the pirate code, which is this big book that's very important.
He's maybe the only one who lives at Shipwreck Cove. You
Seems
get the
like it.
feeling, right?
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
hangs out there, you know.
Mhm.
Just wait until I think maybe the next movie when we get the Paul McCartney cameo as
Right.
Uncle.
Oh,
Is
Uncle
that
Ronnie or
back
something.
here?
That
They
is
gotta reuse this set.
no, he's in jail. You have to wait for the next movie. But basically, he's in jail when
Once-
Jack Sparrow is in jail, and he walks by them, and they have a little scene together.
Once we get past this is the final film I'm entering Mike territory now,
Mhm.
where I have only seen these once. And Mike, the next one you have not even seen, right?
I've seen the fifth one. So
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you to
yeah.
see this next one,
I
dog.
Oh
know the
man.
power scaling of weird magical stuff is just gonna go off the rails, at least
Yeah.
by number 5. Like this is already
Yeah.
dangerous where we're at with upside down boat and whatever.
I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
4 and 5. I can't remember which one I thought was better. I think I thought 5 was better than 4, but neither of them are that
I would
good.
love to see one of them smoke 2 and 3 here, Jacob. I
Mm.
would love to see
Yeah.
them get better. I'm nervous about that.
We'll have to see.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
next one we get our boy Ian McShane, so
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
want to
that one I
spoil
haven't
things, but
seen.
yeah.
So, but I have
Yeah.
seen Javier Bardem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Salazar's Revenge.
Yeah,
Oh,
Penelope
God.
Cruz in 4 as well, which is
Oh
weird
yeah, then I
because
definitely haven't seen
they're
that one.
married in real life, and Penelope Cruz was in 4, and Javier Bardem
Oh,
was in 5.
right. Yeah. And
Hmm.
that's interesting.
Interesting. We'll have to stay tuned for that. But
Yeah, but yeah, so they're having the pirate court. There's the 9 pieces of 8, which are not real pieces of 8, as in
What
gold.
would you like us to say? 9 pieces of shit we got that we found on the fucking floor?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So it turns out this is each a token that is special to them or whatever. And here's where we get the reveal of, oh, Barbossa's piece of 8 was this fucking guy's wooden eye the whole time.
Which I hate.
Jack Sparrow's piece of 8 is like his like little beaded thing that he always wears. Yeah, it's very like, oh, like remember this? Like it's just like a lot of
This is why, Pit Roy, what's the guy's name? Pettigrew, what's his name?
Pintel and
Pintel.
Rigetti.
Yeah.
This is why Pintel or Rigetti has been so important the whole time. You're kind of led to believe, and you go like, "Oh yeah, I guess."
Yeah, he's
Well, it's very
definitely
funny that this thing that is very important that you would want to keep secure, that Barbossa just gives it to this like complete fool who's like losing it all the time in the first 2 movies.
gets a fork in it.
Yeah.
They talk about replacing it with a glass one at one point, I believe, like getting a proper
Right.
one. Like we'll throw
The
this in
guy
the
at any
garbage.
moment is constantly running around to save his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Jack the monkey steals it all the time, and he's always trying to get it back.
Yeah, they're
Guess that
clearly
was a
not
really
been
important thing.
established. Yeah,
No.
exactly. No. So that's like where I don't like this at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then yeah, so we get all these pieces of junk, 9 pieces of junk.
Pieces of
Mhm.
shit.
Yep.
And you got to put them all in a bowl and burn them and do an incantation, and then you'll release Calypso, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But first
Only
we get
the words of a lover can say,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calypso, I release you. You didn't say it right. You gotta say it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Calypso, I release you.
But before that, we get this big scene of all these these 3 characters on each side meeting, right? So we have
Oh, sure.
Jack, Barbossa, and Elizabeth on this side walking out, and then you have
Yeah,
Davy
important.
Jones, Beckett, and Will Turner walking over on this side, and they have this big confrontation,
Mhm.
right?
Hold on, I want to set all that up, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're
Jeez.
important to point this out that when they vote for Elizabeth Turner, who is saying let's go to war, Jack Sparrow's motivation for voting her into power is that everybody will be distracted. I'll get the heart. I'll get out of here. I'll become Davy Jones. This will be great. And when
Mhm.
they get their ships out, Jacob, as you say, it's the 9 pirate lords, and they go like, okay, we're good to go. They see 4 ships in the distance. To war, men. Then boom, a million
bunch of
ships are out
ships.
there. They're
Yeah.
terrified, which spawns them to parlay. It's the joke Johnny Depp did.
Parlay.
But
Yeah.
we get this
Mhm.
great moment that when they're on this tiny little island talk, of course, it hasn't been 10 years. Davy Jones can't touch dry land. He's walking in these little buckets of
Oh,
water
yeah.
as
Oh,
he's
right.
around.
Mhm.
It's very funny.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's funny. And then you have this big scene where they're like, "Oh, we'll trade Jack Sparrow for Will Turner," which kind
And
of
they're all like, deal.
yeah,
Mhm.
which Jack's plan to elect Elizabeth Pirate King kind of backfires on him because she sells him out basically, which is very funny. But yeah, then they have this big, I guess, battle
Is
scene
this
after this, right?
is this where she says the very awkward it's like or he says like it's okay that you didn't fall in love with me, love, or whatever. They kind of like tie up the knot that is
Yeah.
like don't worry.
Yeah.
We know what the core relationship is in this franchise,
Well,
which I find very interesting.
Yeah, at some point she says, "Oh, it would have never worked out between us,"
That-
which
yes,
again is a
thank you,
callback to the
thank you.
first movie. He
Yes,
says that
yes.
in the first movie.
And he's like, "You wish, lover," yeah, kind of like whatever he fires
Yeah.
back with. Yeah. That's good.
So they do wrap that
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
And then we get the big battle, right? And we
Mhm.
have the pirates versus Davy Jones and Beckett and their troops, right?
Mhm.
And we have Calypso being unleashed, creating a big whirlpool.
And this is
Rainstorm.
maybe the best thing Will Turner does this entire movie, because he is an incredibly kind of frustrating piece of shit, and you do feel like Lord Covington's basically like, yeah, we'll trade you for Jack Sparrow in a minute. I've been trying to get rid of this fucking loser for like
Yeah,
10 minutes.
man.
I like get out of here. But when
Yeah.
they are doing the Calypso incantation, basically mid transformation, he goes, "Hey, remember who you've got beef with?" And she's like, "You're right." And like gives him the thumbs up. And that's kind of the only reason that she seems to aid him, because she does seem sort of like a Loki-esque trickster god, right? I mean, that's almost what she admitted to Davy Jones with the "why weren't you there the one day we get to fuck, every
Yeah.
10 years, you bitch."
Right.
Right.
I
Well-
changed careers for you.
Yeah, I moved to Japan. I'm in the Grudge house. You're
I'm in the
driving me crazy.
Please, every 10 years I can put in a VHS.
Again,
God.
this movie
Sayaka
is so
walking down.
convoluted that
Yeah.
it's like I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to remember everyone's motivations. At one point, Jack like betrays Will, which is why he ends up in the water and he floats because they're like floating these dead. Like Will is floating these dead bodies to leave a trail for
I
Beckett
don't
to
remember
follow.
that at all. That's
Oh, yeah.
insane. What
Yeah.
the fuck are you talking
That's
about?
how he gets to Beckett's ship is because Jack like I don't know if they're working together or Jack betrays him and he falls off the boat.
Yeah,
or-
there's also the moment where, like, now that we've separated and Jack's on the Davy Jones ship, he's having more of these isolated interactions where he's like hearing his multiple self. We should also point out, and I'm sorry that we skipped over this,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård's performance in this as Bootstrap Bill Turner
Mhm.
has evolved in an incredibly interesting way, where the makeup or whatever has degenerated him further. He's become this barnacle creature that's sort of embedded into the wall, and it's this
Yeah.
like obvious Alzheimer's allegory, right?
Yeah,
That
he's
just
losing
stuck in
his
these
memory.
cycles. Yeah.
He's losing his like sense of identity as you
Mhm.
do, because the more time you spend in Davy Jones' crew, the less human you kind of become. And he even has a scene with Elizabeth where he's like, "Oh, you're like my daughter-in-law or whatever."
I have a son. His
Yeah.
name's Will.
Yeah. He
Do
does.
you know my son?
um,
I have a son. His name's Will.
Yeah.
That's a
What?
that's a great Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah.
and,
Part of the
he's like-
crew, part of the ship.
He'll choose you. I'd choose you too.
I'm
Yeah.
going to get you, girl with the dragon tattoo. Is that good?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
I'm going
but
to start the rebellion in Star Wars.
Come with me, Andor. But I point all that out to say that one of the Johnny Depp fantasies now, the Jack Sparrow, is like him imagining that he will become a Bootstrap Bill Turner. It's this weird
Yes,
reef
'cause he even
creature
sees a
that takes his
barnacle.
brain out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a barnacle version of himself. And then we didn't even mention, speaking of
Norrington?
Bootstrap Bill, Norrington's death scene where
Yeah.
That
he
rules.
helps him escape, but then Bootstrap Bill kills him because he's like letting the prisoners escape and he doesn't
Yeah.
know who he is and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't know how I feel about that because like Bootstrap
Yeah.
Bill, I guess he just doesn't know what's going on, so he's just
It's
like,
kind
kill
of
this guy.
irredeemable. It kind of sucks later when he's fighting Will Turner too. But Jacob, I really did love that thing you said about this film's recurring beat of "Are you afraid to die?"
You'll
or
fear death.
"Do you fear death?"
Yeah.
And when it's Norrington who doesn't answer verbally, but instead tries to kill Davy Jones as he's dying, I was like, you know what? Redemption. Norrington,
Redeemed,
you're
yeah.
a cool guy, dog.
Yep.
That was a cool choice.
And we
I
were
mean,
kind
he
of.
was the one that gave the heart to Beckett, so he's kind of
Yeah.
the reason this is all happening. But
Yeah.
yeah, I guess he's redeemed.
That moment
And
he gets
he was a
his-
groomer. We did
He
identify.
finally gets to smooch his child bride before he dies. You know?
Boo.
Boo.
He does-
Fates.
Mike, he does
Which-
say, fates are
Our
intertwined.
But they never
it says our fates
crossed.
were always destined, but never intertwined.
Ever since I saw you on MySpace, I knew I had to follow
yeah.
you to Arizona.
Why do we have
Yes,
the
when you were
right
a 12-year-old girl and I was the captain of a ship.
Great.
37?
Cool.
Yeah. Why do we have to write
Awesome.
in that kiss? Yeah, I didn't like that part, but
No, it's insane.
whatever.
That's that's the opposite of Padme and Anakin in Phantom Menace
Yes.
to Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, it is.
Fair.
You're totally right. Hey, can
Yeah.
I ask real quick? Do we have a confirmed? How old is Elizabeth Swann supposed to be in these movies? Is she like 14 or 16?
I feel like
or
she's
is
like
it
18.
sinister? It's
She's like 18
she,
in present day.
she is like 18, right?
But her and Will are like more similar in age, I have to believe.
Yeah.
It
Because
says
he's also a kid in the prologue.
around 19 is what the first internet
okay.
search is returning. So,
Okay. I feel better.
Which I
about
mean,
that.
for the time period, it's not really that.
but for
weird
when that
an
would be
older man.
arranged, it's
Oh,
still
she'd be
alarming.
a spinster. Yeah,
Yeah.
she'd be.
Right.
You
That's why her
lonely old
dad's trying to
woman.
marry her off.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, Jesus Christ, you got to get out of here. I
Yeah.
gotta have grandkids already.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
get more estate land. Can you do the Norrington
Yeah.
thing already? Get some wealth.
Right. So Norrington lets the prisoners escape, but ends up dying to Bootstrap Bill. Very sad. Our favorite character, Norrington.
That wheel fight, it's wheel fun.
Yeah. Basically
Freeze.
existed to be cucked by Will Turner, but it's
Good.
um,
Damn.
Freeze Elizabeth, but
Yeah.
in the future part where it is Johnny Depp's, I keep calling him Johnny Depp. I want to say Jack Sparrow. I'm trying to
Yeah.
stop saying it. Jack
Fair.
Sparrow.
Yeah.
Jack Sparrow is the one locked up there, and he finally gets out. And he has the chest now, and it's this sort of move to get off the boat. This is where, with you bringing up that dead bodies thing, Jacob, I'm getting very shaky on how our multiple characters just seem to have the abilities to just start teleporting from what boats they sort of want to be doing plot on now.
right.
Mhm.
Well, Jack Sparrow, he just loves to use ropes to shoot himself in the air. So
Yeah. Well, let's point out earlier, Lord Covington's other manservant, who's sort of this recurring, U5 extra in the background, does do the call out of like, do you think he plans it all out, or do you
yeah.
think he just goes along with this as it occurs?
Yeah.
This ultimate sort of like fan speaking of like,
But they already
we'll
did
put
that
the
in the first
button
movie
on
too,
China.
where they're like, that's
but
probably the
you-
best
you
pirate I've ever seen.
hate the callback of it,
Yeah.
Jacob.
This
That
one's
in that
even
first
more.
one. It's so heightened, Mike. It
Mhm.
sucks. It sucks.
This is a triple underline. Yeah.
But
Yes.
yeah, basically the idea is that he is kind of just making it up as it goes along, but it always just kind of works out for him, and he can just shoot himself into the air using ropes.
just walk out on the mast, and he kind of does the he's just Mr. Magoo or Mr. Bean. He's just
Right.
I
I mean,
hate
I
when
liked
he-
in the
yeah.
second one when he's about to give this like great speech or whatever, and he just like falls over like down a bunch of steps and just like wrecks shit. Like
Yeah.
I like when it just doesn't work out sometimes. For him.
Yeah.
I
I
did.
think this movie needed more of that.
Well, the ultimate
Yeah.
is the stepping off the boat that's sinking. That is he looks cool while
Yeah.
dumb circumstances are happening. That's the iconic Jack Sparrow. To do anything
Yeah.
else is like, it's just ridiculous.
Well, even when he's chasing the ship in the desert, that I assume is where they shot that Sauvage commercial. But like, and he's doing the run. It's like I tire of the isms, like this Jack Sparrow isms in this. Like, it's
Yeah.
like just I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is they double down on Jack. They're like, oh, people love this character who is a supporting character in the first movie. He's not the main character really, but we're gonna really double down on his eccentricities. And when he's in David Jones' locker, he's like, oh, we're going to a garden party and all this stuff.
That
like,
was
they're trying
I-
too
dude,
hard.
I was like, we're going full Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking
But it's like
insane.
he is the
Mhm.
Mad Hatter, right?
Yeah, no.
Um,
I would have preferred like a universe where Jack Sparrow's character is dead and it's just Barbossa is our guy. Like,
yeah.
that's more
But
fun to me.
obviously, Jack Sparrow was the most marketable, so they're
Correct.
Like, well, we obviously need him, and that's why 4 and 5 are very
Mhm.
Jack Sparrow.
I
He
think
is the main character now.
I think the move is the third act is they finally resurrect him. And it's so much
Mm.
of the what did I miss? He's the final piece that makes
Yeah.
their triangle work. He's like, you guys have been fighting. You guys love each other. Like that should be like the whole what this is rolling off of. And I understand you're putting like the bookmark here to sort of like end this franchise. But then what you do is you leave it open to be like, and Jack Sparrow will return because we know this is your guy. Like
Right.
this conclusion doesn't need to be all him. The
Right.
fact that it is, we got to get him from the locker. He's the ninth pirate lord. The whole movie is him weighing on if he's going to become the captain of the Dutchman. And it just keeps building and stacking more on him. You're like, you're crushing what I liked about this guy.
And you would have had more
Yeah.
time for Elizabeth and Will to like hash their shit out, and develop that.
Yeah.
They could have a chance to be real characters.
Because I think they
Yeah.
do become more interesting characters than they were in the first movie, and over the period of these 3 movies, they've become more interesting characters. But the overexposure of Jack Sparrow just kind of kills the movie for me. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I do like to jump to the very end. I do
Mhm.
like how he ends where he ended where he began, where he's the Black Pearl has been mutinied from him again by Barbossa, and he's by himself again. So it's kind of a full circle for him.
Yeah.
But
I
let's
think
talk about
Yeah, because I think his plan was sound. Because the idea was, all right, look, mate, I'll get the box, I'll stab the heart, I'll become Davy Jones. Your dad's free. It'll be great. Everyone's gonna be so happy about this. But then Will gets injured, and we have to.
Of course,
pivot.
yeah. There's Will gets injured. Well, even before that, Jack Sparrow fights Davy Jones. They're on the mast and stuff. They're circling around this whirlpool.
The maelstrom
kills Davy Jones, or I don't even remember how Davy Jones dies.
You kill by stabbing the heart. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So Will is.
It ends in
before
sort
that,
of a standoff.
Yeah. I do want to mention Beckett's death again, which is my favorite scene. Maybe not my favorite scene, but I just think it's a cool shot when he's just basically he's like, oh, so I guess this is after Davy Jones dies.
Davy Jones death.
Yeah.
This is when the Dutchman's resurrected.
So Will Turner is now the captain of the Dutchman, and it's the Black Pearl and the Dutchman versus the Endeavor or whatever his ship's called. I think it's the Endeavor. And he just freezes, and he's like, oh, I made a mistake. And then his whole ship is just blowing up around him, and he's just walking down these steps in slow motion. I think that's a cool shot, I guess.
Yeah, everything is out of hand now. Like, well, you mess with pirate magic, sometimes you get pirate magic. Okay.
He basically just gives up, and he's like, well, I guess it's time to die.
Would you guys take this Flying Dutchman deal?
No
Immortality,
way.
10 years, 1 day of land.
For Will, he's going to die if he doesn't do it, right? So he has to do it to save his life. So you could either die or you could become
I actually like this moment from Davy Jones. That's good, Mike. Where literally Jack Sparrow has the heart. He's like, I'll fucking do it. And Davy Jones' response is, do it, bitch. And he stabs Will Turner in the heart. And Johnny Depp is like stunned. He's like, oh shit. Yeah. And so what they do is, of course, give him the knife. And you have to wonder if the curse would even apply him, because you fully see that Jack is the one motioning for Will to bring the knife.
Well, and Jack is making a selfless act to say, I'm not going to do it. Instead, you're going to do it so you don't die, even though I wanted to become immortal and become Davy Jones. Yeah. And that's why we see him at the end, I guess, going after the Fountain of Youth, because he's still chasing this immortality, and maybe the Fountain of Youth can be, that solution.
Right. But it's a bad
Will
deal.
Turner,
that sucks. You have to do it so you don't die, but
dying.
It's better than dying unless you don't fear death.
You have to go on land for 1 day every 10 years.
Well, now we know you can have water buckets, and there you go.
Yeah, it's kind of a cheat code.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you attach some sponges to your feet, Mike, and you just
put plastic bags full of water on your shoe over your foot.
What's interesting is that the Captain Jacks on his shoulders literally go like, yeah, it's immortality, but you got to work a day job. Like, that is kind of the issue of it. Like, I wouldn't mind the 10 years at sea, I don't think, but the fact that they're like, but get to work, I'd be like, oh.
And that is a big thing for Jack, because at the end of the first movie, this whole thing is like, I would rather be a free pirate than working for someone, right? So he's all about the freedom of the open ocean. But Will,
because I could do tentacles or something like that. I don't have a face for tentacles. Yeah
I don't have a face for tentacles. But I do like, Colin, you've been saying it this whole time, this whole trilogy is about how Will and Elizabeth just need to fuck, they need to get married and have sex. That's been what this whole time. And now Will can only have sex.
Now you have to
every
wait
10
10
years.
years. Yeah, this is still wait.
Let's rewind real quick to talk about what is because I would argue the expulsion of the sexual tension is not the actual fucking that occurs in this movie. It is the let's get married in the middle of a battle scene when
Yeah.
they say
Yes.
like, and can a captain Maris? Of course I can. Do you take Mr. Turner? And the fact
Yeah.
that literally like Elizabeth Swann stabbing people, breathing hard, going like, like cutting
Yeah.
people up,
Yeah.
and then just says like, and
They're in
do you
their
take
element.
me in health or illness? And I don't think it'll be health based on what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially,
Like, it's
yeah.
Yeah.
so great.
They're fighting for their lives, and like you said, marriage is kind of a euphemism for sex because it's implied that she's a virgin before she gets married. So to finally get married, they're like, okay, we might die. We might as well get married
We
before
have
we die.
to get
Yeah.
boned.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
And then
got
they're like,
blown up right now.
Barbosa,
On a
you're
sinking
you're a
ship.
ship's captain. That's technically someone who can marry people, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he's like, I'm a little busy right now. But
Yeah.
then he does it. And I don't know how I feel about the scene because it's so kind of
Will you
over the
kiss
top,
the-
but it's
Will you kiss already?
kiss her
Like
already.
you're just,
Mhm.
it's like, again, you just imagine. I just keep thinking of those Mormon kids I told you guys about that were like, the
Mhm.
Pirates of the Caribbean is the greatest franchise ever. Like there are people who must have been like, yes, like just like going crazy when this happens. And it does
Marriage.
feel like they are, yes, pushing it to those people. But
Mhm.
watching it now, like 15 years later after it came out, it feels insane.
I was like, how many people did you murder during your wedding ceremony? That's wild.
yeah, these people can't just like take a break while you're getting married. Like they have to try to attack you.
Or finish the battle first, maybe. I get it.
Yeah.
You could die, but yeah,
They could
it's
die. They
pretty
wanted to
wild.
be married before they died. But then of course, yeah, you can only have sex every 10 years.
I
But
don't think they had time before, so
right.
she still
Well,
got 10 more years to go.
After
And
the
can I
credits
say-
scene. Yeah.
Well, just real quick
Mm.
to time that out, just to say it. So let's say we agree, Elizabeth Swann. Let's say she's 20 years old.
Mhm.
This is a time period where you get to 50, and that's pretty
Right.
good, right? Like that's
Yeah.
like, so she's got 3 more visits in her lifetime.
That's true because
Sheesh.
she's.
That's
I guess
crazy.
she's age, and he will stay immortal. So that's kind of sad because he's going to watch her
Yeah.
die at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's
That's-
worse than being a vampire. Like the fact that it's like you'd have to be like on a boat, like nearby, like, hello,
Yeah.
are you
You're
having
like
a
a
good
vampire who has to do a day job, like you said, for 10 years.
Yeah, that's the worst.
time?
Yeah.
I bit you, and you're cursed to deliver pizzas at Domino's for the rest of your life. I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh,
And you get
oh,
one day
no,
off
no.
every
And I
10
can't
years.
go in the sun, and I have to bring hot and readies to people.
Mhm.
Like, yes, you do. You're cursed.
And if you don't, you become Pizza Hut slowly.
But-
you turn into pizza if you
Part of the
refuse
crew,
to
part of the
deliver
pie.
pizzas. Just,
Right.
My eyes are pepperoni now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, on the flip side, for Will,
You
he
become
does
Little
get to hang
Caesar.
out with his dad now, who's like on his crew. And
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of Davy Jones' crew turn back into normal men, and
And he
then-
maybe releases all of them except Bill Skarsgård's like, I'm gonna hang around or Stellan
Yeah.
Skarsgård's like, I'm gonna hang around so that we can play catch and shit.
Mhm.
right,
Yeah, he chooses to
like we'll
stay.
hang out, we'll do this together. It'll be
So
great.
like fucking your wife. It was good. All right. 10 years you'll do it again. We better
Mhm.
come up with some more stuff to talk about. So what else? What else do we have? So it was
Yeah.
good. It was good that one time. Okay, what else do we have?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you've seen the after credits scene, then you know that basically she got
Mhm.
pregnant after that first time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wait, what is the after credits scene?
you didn't see that?
No, I don't think I've ever
So-
seen it.
Yeah, basically, there's a one scene where she has a son, and it's Will Turner coming back to land after 10 years, and they have a 10-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, which
So
will
of
be
course-
important.
Of
in-
course, setting up some other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So the continuation
Wow.
of the Turner Swan bloodline.
Yeah.
That is so. And again, guys, just to say, I want you guys to imagine. We were what? How old were we when we saw this? 14, 15 years old, probably. I would imagine around that age.
Somewhere
I
around
think
there.
17,
17,
2007.
18.
Oh,
Yeah.
17. I shouldn't have
Yeah.
been this introspective then, but I felt very melancholy about the fact that the franchise I really liked ended with what is essentially the farm boy Luke Skywalker having this sort of upsetting ending that I said bittersweet earlier, that he wouldn't be able to taste the fruits of his love whenever he wanted to.
Yeah.
That it would be this thing that came at a cost for him.
Yeah.
And I just remember nobody else liking or caring about it, and just me just thinking like, oh, I guess like that's the last time we'll ever see Will Turner. Weird, interesting, and just kind of like again closing the book on it. It made me feel so strange. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I think
It's bold.
It's down. Yeah, it's a downer. It's melancholy. It has like, yeah, that bittersweet. And I think there's a world where hindsight, Will becomes the captain of the Dutchman in movie 2, and then movie 3 is breaking
the
that curse.
Yeah, like
Yes.
that's so true and interesting.
That's how I would do
Yeah.
it. But what do you think,
I like
Jacob?
it this way because I think it is a bittersweet ending, but I like it that it's not just neatly wrapped up of like, oh, they lived happily ever after. Like he does have to make a sacrifice, and
It's the scars
I
of
like that it
war.
sticks
Like
with
there
that.
are
Yeah.
stakes and
Yeah.
results.
You
Yeah.
can't go home,
Yeah.
The Hobbit, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
Damn. God
It's
damn.
deeper than we thought. Okay.
Yeah. All right, maybe this movie isn't so bad.
No, it
Well,
sucks.
whoa.
I know you said it speeds up at the end, but you've gone through so much to get to the point where they're having the battle marriage that by that point you're like really just scratching your head of like, how much more can there be in this fucking movie? Like you feel you don't leave this movie in the same way that we've talked a lot about in our long form series, where usually when we watch these, we'll be like, fuck, I want to watch the next one right away. I'm not super itching to jump to 4 right now. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
good.
kind
that
of
we
want
have
to
a
jump
month
to
in between
5
them.
just knowing what I know, where I'm like, I kind
Yeah.
of just want this to like get resolved. So,
Knowing what I know about 4 and 5, I remember liking 5 better. I think I said that already. But
yeah.
so 4 will be a drag, but I do like the guest stars and stuff of like, oh, Ian McShane's in this one.
Yes.
And
as a pirate this week, Ian McShane as Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
But I'm not super ready to watch it right now, but in a month I think I'll be ready. And this one I think I did like I said, I like the last 40 minutes or so, but it's so draining by the time that you get
It's
there.
draining.
You're just ready for it to be over.
Great way to put it. Yeah.
And when I texted you guys, I was in the middle of watching it. And I said, is this the longest movie ever made? And when I texted that, I was halfway through and I paused
Oh
it at
my
some point. I'm
God.
like, I'm an hour and 20 minutes into this movie and I have another hour and 20 minutes.
Mhm.
But by that point, it feels insurmountable, Jacob.
Yeah.
When you're at that first hour, you're like, this movie really will not end.
It's yeah.
Right.
It's
It feels
intimidating.
like it's going to go on forever.
Yes.
but-
yeah, when will it end is what I kept
Yes.
thinking while watching this one.
Right. 'Cause
Pirates
we
of the
kind
Caribbean,
of when will it end?
yeah, we praised the Curse of the Black Pearl for having a pretty economical script. Maybe the third act is a little long, going to
Yeah.
the Isla de Muerta twice or whatever, but it's pretty good. But then this is just
Right.
bloat,
No, the
like
series
a
just
wet corpse.
the
You know what I
series just
kept
gets
thinking
too
about?
bloated.
Yeah.
And I'm so shocked that you said that thing about it being like the most expensive movie ever made, Jacob, where like I just thought about like that first film where Port Royale's getting invaded and it's nighttime action exteriors where you see buildings exploding
Mm-hmm.
and this great use of geography. Like, you know where the jail cell is, you know where her house is, you know where the port with the boats are.
Yep.
You feel very in control with the events of the action. And then
Yeah.
you think about that Sao Fang set
Mm-hmm.
that feels so tight and claustrophobic, the opening scene to like
Mhm.
start this. And like I already made the complaint about how claustrophobic Davy Jones' locker feels. Like, it's interesting that everything does feel so much bigger, but everything feels so much tighter in the places where it should feel bigger.
If I may quote Jack Sparrow, the world didn't get any smaller. It's the same size. There's just less in it.
Mike, I really liked that line.
I did
too,
like
when
that
he was
line,
saying that
honestly.
stuff. So
Yeah,
thank you
I
for
did
bringing
like
that back. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the mysteries
Was
are.
Keith Richards secretly one of the best performances in this movie? He's really good as Captain Teague. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. Who knows? We'll see him next time.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else we want to mention about, I guess, the overall plot before we jump into
I think we've did it. I think
a little, if I can say this right this time, it's the Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Quiz, or it should be called At Quiz's End.
All right. All right, right after this.
This quiz is flat.
I got to get my pencil to take the quiz out of Davy Jones' locker. Hold on. It's in the hallway.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, where we're talking about the third Pirates of the Caribbean film that's at World's End.
World's End.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to take the quiz.
Yeah.
Podcast of the Caribbean at Quiz End. First, we took a little break there for a second. And Jacob, while we were taking that, Mike and I did realize 2007, we graduated high school the year this film came out. That's really blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I graduated in 08, but
And I was, we're 07, the James Bond year.
Yeah, we're fucking old. I don't know.
Yeah. The fact that I was like, God, again, when I say how melancholy and weird this ending must have left me, when I'm like, it must have been the summer. I must have been about to leave home and go to college. And my dad's like, all right, well, there it is. The two weird people from your youth had sex on screen. How do you feel? And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, keep in mind, Black Pearl came out in 03. So we really came of age with these movies. So the first one, we were younger. And maybe that's why it stands out as so important to me when I was younger. But I mean, it clearly is the best movie of the three.
Well, I was actually the same age that Harry was when he was going to the school, and when Jack was pirate captain. So I actually line up with both the franchises perfectly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That's why I have tattoos of both.
I remember the summer of 07. Or 08, I think kind of both, of as well as any movie going summer, because I've
seen a lot of movies.
Yeah, I think 07 especially, because it was between my junior and senior year. I was just seeing movies with my friends all summer long. My friend worked at a movie theater, so I would get in for free.
And that's the thing. You pointed this out to us recently. Same for me. I had a fucking job. I had fucking spending money, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like
no
truly,
rent.
Like, oh God, no rent. No, I wasn't paying for anything except like going to Wendy's after school.
Right.
And it was cheaper back then.
I think I mentioned this before. I talked about this maybe in our Transformers.
JBC's $1.99. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah, gotta get those JBCs. I used to go to Wendy's all the time and Jimmy John's with my friends. But that summer of 07, if you remember the movies, it was Spider-Man 3, it was Transformers, the first one. I think I mentioned this in our Transformers series, but I was just seeing every big blockbuster that summer. The Simpsons movie, I think, was that summer as well.
So hold on, before we start this quiz,
Yeah.
What are you more let down by this year? Spider-Man 3 or Pirates of the Caribbean 3?
I have to say, when I saw Spider-Man 3 in theaters, I didn't hate it. I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's not. I mean, it's the worst Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie for
An
sure.
argument that we should do those for our long form at some point.
Yeah, definitely. It's just too many villains. That's the main problem. And Sam Raimi didn't even want to have all the villains. I think the studio kind of forced him to have Venom and stuff. So
I was more let down by Spider-Man 3 because I had expectations and I liked the Venom character. And that was not handled well. But
Venom shouldn't have been in the movie. It should have been Sandman and James Franco Goblin. That's it. Like, you didn't need
that. That sounds like an exciting film to you.
Well,
I don't know.
More cohesive, but anyway.
Yeah.
We would never gotten the emo points, though. So.
Yes, I love that scene. Everyone hates. Everyone clowns on that scene. I unironically love that scene.
What about the scene when he domestically abuses Mary Jane?
Well, the thing is, it's Peter Parker, the nerd, trying to be cool, but in a very nerdy way, because that's what he thinks is cool.
It's Sam Raimi, the nerd, trying to be cool.
Yeah.
But this is not the Spider-Man 3 podcast. This is
the At World's End podcast, and it is not pizza time. It's pirate time. I've
got Venom on me, love.
Oh man, yeah. Get
That's
Tom
right,
Hardy
it's
in one of
quiz
these.
time, baby.
That's right.
Tom Hardy would be a really good villain for the next Pirates of the Caribbean, Mike.
Yeah, just saying, tap that guy.
The next Pirates
He
of the
would be
Caribbean.
fucking
He'll do a weird
hilarious. He would be,
accent.
I'm John Sparrow, Jack's brother, and I'm fucking crazier. And you'd be like,
Mhm.
oh my god.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Look, if he can do a weird voice or a weird
Yeah.
accent, I'm in.
Sign it
Obscure
up.
his face, a ton of mascara. You would
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, more tattoos. It'd be great. But
He was raised in Israel. You're doing your Peaky Blinders Jewish butcher accent.
yes,
Right.
he's a Jewish pirate.
Why?
Doing a weird Cockney
Affy?
accent.
Why?
I don't know. But let's.
Alright.
You best start believing in pop quizzes because we're taking one.
Yeah. That's right, baby. It's quiz time.
That's right.
All right. So you know the deal. True or false?
Mm-hmm.
You hold up your fingers. 1 for false, 1 for true, 2 for false. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, would you guys say we're in Davy Jacobs' locker right now?
We're 100% David.
I think we are. We're in purgatory, and you cannot leave unless you get these questions.
And only one
Mike
of
and I
us
have
gets out.
one single peanut, which is the points for this
This
quiz.
is for all the peanut.
Now, if we can refresh our normie listeners, do we know who won the last 2? Are you keeping track of this?
I have them in the
Jesus.
sheet, but I would have to pull them up.
Really?
Stall for time.
I'd be very impressed.
I just want to know if
my guess would be Mike wins
it's
most
split
of
decision, because this could be the tiebreaker for the Pirates, at least the original trilogy, at least.
Oh, wait, that's not it. Sorry, stall for time. Tell a fun fact.
Mhm.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3. Man.
What else? What else did you see that
Summer
year?
of 2007. I was just seeing a lot.
Colin won Dead Man's
Um,
Chest.
Wow.
Okay.
Let me see about Pearl.
And who won Pearl? There was just so many movies that summer. It was a very formative year for me. I was hanging out with my friends. We were going to see movies all the time, and it's just a time that I look very fondly back at, even if a lot of those
Can I
movies
also
weren't
say
as good
something
as-
completely insane? I
Yeah.
Okay.
truly believe, was that the year Chipotle was released or like launched?
released
It's
the
pretty
Chipotle?
recent, yeah. Because I was
Yeah.
going. That was the hot new thing. All
It
my
was a
friends
big
were
deal.
Got to get these Chipotle.
Like a person would
burritos,
say to
man."
me, so they have these things called bowls, and I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah.
"Yeah,
So
absolutely."
and on the Chipotle note, it is 1-1. I won Black Pearl. Colin
There
won
we go.
Dead Man's Chest.
There we
So,
go. So
there we
this
go.
is the tiebreaker
For the original
for
trilogy.
the original 3, at least. There's going to be 5 total, I guess. So we'll see who.
6
wins
if we
that.
add little Muppets in there.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, let's get right into it with the quizzes. The
Let's
quizzing.
do it. The quizzing.
Yeah. If you're following along, normies, true or false. Obviously, if you're seeing the video, you can see the fingers.
Yep. It's the best part.
Mike and I are fingering if you watch the video.
Yeah.
That's right.
You'll see it.
All right. Question number 1. Let me see here. Okay.
Quiz chin.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, this movie is the most expensive movie of all time. It had the highest budget at the time of any movie ever. True or false? This movie had a larger budget than all 3 Lord of the Rings movies combined.
Oh.
True or false?
Oh my god.
I don't like it, but I'm going to be locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked
Lock
in.
them in.
All right.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
I have true. Colin has false.
I'm going false.
That is true.
Ah,
It was
So
too
let me tell
wild.
you, the budget for this movie was $300 million.
Okay.
Which I guess a lot of movies are, a lot of Marvel and big blockbusters are like that much these days. But for that time period, it was very,
whoa.
it was a
20
new
years
thing.
ago. Mm-hmm.
In
Lord of the
hindsight, Miramax, yeah, putting the money up for that versus Disney for
And you're in
this.
New
Disney's got
Zealand.
deeper pockets.
Well, when I
yeah.
Tax
looked
break.
up the budget for the Lord of the Rings movies, and I was surprised at how manageable it was, because each Lord of the Rings movie was like 93, 94 million. So they were all
Yeah.
under $100 million budget wise. So compare Return of the King to this movie, and this movie cost 3 times as much as Return of the King.
But Jacob,
And that
when
justifies its length.
Yeah.
Well, but when you do the like visual math that is the breakdown of a Lord of the Rings scene, where it's like, okay, it's a guy on a horse, and in the distance we have a miniature this big of a city that we're putting this close to the camera to make it
Mhm.
look this big. It's like, and that was a scene. You're like,
And
that
We're in
didn't cost that
location
much.
largely. Yeah.
Yeah.
right. shooting in New Zealand, also because Weta was just so far ahead of everyone in terms of like effects and stuff at the time that they could make it look more expensive than it actually was, I guess.
Yeah.
They kept it all in house too, so you're not getting
Yeah.
Skywalker sound and shit.
So you think
Yeah.
about like the battles and stuff where they had that new technology where they could make a
Yeah.
big crowd with the computer.
They created those
imagery
AI
and
models.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
hmm
Now you're
so I guess it makes
purposely
sense.
weighing these franchises against each other because you call those the Orlando Bloom movies. That's how you refer to these two franchises.
Yeah.
That's right. This and Kingdom of Heaven, my favorite Ridley Scott movie.
I still got to watch Gran Turismo.
All right, next
right.
question. So
That's
that
wild.
was true. So make sure you're keeping score.
I got it.
Good job.
I want that peanut.
Yeah. Yeah, the prize is a single half of a peanut.
Mike's gonna shoot me in the brains for it.
That's right.
Next question. This is the highest grossing movie worldwide in this franchise. There's the highest grossing movie in the franchise worldwide. True or false?
I'm locked in.
So it made the
locked
most
in.
money of any Pirates movie.
Okay.
Lock it in.
Mhm.
3, 2, 1, reveal.
True.
I'm going
Ooh,
false.
We're split.
That is false.
Ah.
So Dead Man's Chest made more money than this movie. And if I can tell you, so
Dang.
domestically, it's very interesting. This movie made domestically about the same as Black Pearl.
Oh wow.
But outside of America, it made like twice as much. So it made up the difference there. So it made a
And
little
then you
bit
gotta
less
wonder,
total than Dead Man's Chest.
Does
But
it pay
Huh.
off for that scene of the foreign captain pirates?
Well, that's
Right.
not,
Hey.
yeah, I thought the Sao Feng effect would put it over, but it didn't make as much
Yeah.
domestically.
Yeah.
And this wasn't
Yeah.
in my quiz, but Sao Feng, this movie was censored in China, and they actually cut down Sao Feng's
Huh.
scenes for China. I don't know if that's like some political thing with Chow
Oh,
Yun
weird.
Fat because
Sure.
mainland China doesn't like him or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
Oh, is it
Interesting.
something about the fact that they say it's Singapore specifically?
Could be.
Could be something
yeah.
like that. Okay. Should have said
Um,
Shanghai.
But you know why that was my safe bet, Mike, and why I said false there is because it seems like they put this franchise on ice for a little bit after this. So to me, it felt like if this was the higher grosser one, they would have been like, "Well, we're rolling the dice for 4 and 5 immediately."
Yep.
It was a
get that.
disappointing return compared to Dead Man's Chest. Domestically, it made like 120 million less than Dead Man's Chest.
And for the budget.
Yeah. Dead Man's Chest
And
made a little bit
the Rotten
total.
Tomatoes, it can't have been better either.
No, it has like a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And yeah, total worldwide, Dead Man's Chest made like 1.14 billion.
Yo.
This movie made a little bit less than $1 billion, so it didn't even reach $1 billion worldwide.
Wow. Okay.
Did
Again,
I said on the first episode though, right, that this franchise and the merchandising from it is the reason that they were able to purchase Star Wars, right? Did I say all that?
You may have, but if you want to
maybe.
re-underline
I mean, of course,
it.
this is one of the biggest franchises of all time, and at the time, it was like this is like one of the it was a big deal, of course.
It was a huge revenue maker.
Yeah,
Right.
It made a lot of money.
Interesting.
I mean, it was a disappointment in relation to Dead Man's Chest, but it still made a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, you wonder if the runtime was 45 minutes less and they had one more screening per day, it probably would have made $1 billion. Like just by the math of that, right?
You're 100% right. Yeah.
They ate their own lunch with that runtime.
It's possible.
It's my
Well, they're going to want
hypothesis.
the fans want a 3-hour Pirates movie. You're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No.
And also, this is not on my quiz either, but I did read that the original cut of this movie was 3 hours long, so it was 20 minutes longer. They cut 20 minutes out, but Gore Verbinski was like, or Jerry Bruckheimer was like, no, we should be 3 hours. Like people want to see this. Like we are not cutting, but they ended up cutting 20 minutes out. So
Damn. Okay. So where's the Verbinski
You know,
this is
cut?
cut down. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know what's so crazy about that summer of 2007 movies, Jacob, that we were like praising and going like, oh, the glory days, is that around those times, like that summer, I guarantee we were walking out of a movie like this going like, they played one commercial and 3 trailers before that movie. That's too long. They put too much stuff before these movies, to
Right.
whereas now it's like
Now
you
it's
go to
like
these movies, it's like
30
an
minutes
hour
of-
of content
Yeah.
that's like coming soon to the theater you're at, a new Coke machine, and you're like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
play the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
come and watch a live concert at our theater. We need revenue.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the
So
annoying
sad,
thing to me is
dog.
like I always liked seeing a few trailers before movies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But the problem is now is if you're watching a lot of movies that are coming out at the same time, you're seeing the same trailers over and over. Where it's like, oh, it's
That's
fucking
true.
The Last
Yeah.
Voyage of the Demeter again. Okay,
Mhm.
I've seen this trailer like 5
Yo,
times.
Another pirate
This
movie?
fucking-
Yeah.
That's true.
Pirate
Yeah, this
vampire. It's
fucking-
what we said. The worst of both worlds.
to me right now, dog, it's truly that where I go like, oh, that fucking crazy ass crash in Ferrari again. Like I see that
Oh,
trailer and
yeah.
I'm like, I've had to see this
Or
trailer
it's
500 times.
Agent Argyle. That's
Oh,
not-
Argyle.
Oh,
You can't convince me
Jesus
that's a real movie.
Christ. No, it's
Yeah.
not. It is not, dog. Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh, man.
All
Coming
right, next
soon.
question.
Probably better than
Coming
this movie.
soon. Agent Argyle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
one would
that's
you
our
rather
next
see,
episode.
Agent Argyle
Yeah.
or Madam Web?
Oh, 100%
Oh,
Argyle.
like,
Competition.
Don't even
what an
ask.
impossible question. Yeah, I don't know. Jesus.
It's all right. We have Dune 2 coming out. That'll
That's
save us.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question. The original name for this movie was The Pirates of the Caribbean Calypso's Wrath. True or false?
Oh my God.
100%
100%
I'll lock
locked in.
in. Yep.
Lock it in. Lock it in. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
True.
Revenue
Gotta
accordance.
be.
I got you guys. That was false.
Oh,
That's a good
I
fake
made it
title.
up.
that was
Yeah.
good. That was a good fake one, dude.
You just
I was gonna go with The Curse of Calypso, but then I realized like they wouldn't say curse because they use Curse
Yeah.
of the Black Pearl. So I was like Calypso's Wrath.
that's good because I could see an
that's-
early draft where she's more important for the main
Yeah.
plot.
Hearing
Yeah.
Brockhammer busts a rail of cocaine and says like, "It's all about Calypso. This whole movie's about Calypso." You're
Yep.
like,
Yeah.
okay, you got it.
Was she in the other movies? She was now. Tia Dama.
Are you kidding?
Right.
Nice. Well, good
So,
job.
Yeah, that's false. I got you guys. All right,
Still
next
tied.
question. Still tied?
Mm-hmm.
1-1
1-1.
or 2-2.
1-1.
Keith Richards almost missed filming his scenes in this movie due to injuries that he sustained from falling out of a tree.
What?
Fell out of
Okay.
a tree.
Locked
Uh-huh.
in.
Interesting.
He's
Locked
climbing
in.
a tree. Lock him
All right.
in. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
I'm saying true. It has to
I'm
be.
saying true too.
That's true.
Keep him
That's
away from
true.
trees.
I'm
was
sure he was a
climbing a
little
tree.
imbibed.
Trees
I like
Richards.
to imagine that he was trying to get like a coconut or something out of a tree.
Yo,
and he
get out
fell.
of there, you
There's
bloody
coke or
coconut.
something in the tree, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was originally supposed to be in Dead Man's Chest, but scheduling conflicts, he wasn't able to make it because of touring with the Rolling Stones, his band, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is a funny anecdote. He got so drunk on set that Gore Verbinski had to prop him up for his scenes.
No fucking way.
Wow.
To which Richards remarked, "If you wanted straight, then you got the wrong man."
Nice. Nice.
That's my Keith Richards.
That was great.
impression.
Dog.
That's
That
good.
Was very good.
I mean, hey,
Thank you.
that's what you get what you pay for. You want a Keith Richards in your pirate movie? You got him.
I mean,
Now-
just imagine him and Johnny Depp hanging
Bro.
out in their trailer. Like,
Well,
just
now
Yeah.
is he
downing rum.
is he one of the Hollywood vampires with Johnny Depp? Is he part of that?
No,
dumbass
that's
band?
who is that? I should look that up.
It's
'cause
like Jeff
some other.
Beck.
Yeah, it's some other old rock.
And is it
stars.
fucking what's his name?
Alice Cooper.
Frankenstein? Alice
Alice
Cooper. Thank
Cooper.
you, dude.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's Alice Cooper.
That's right.
Be my Frankenstein.
But
Yeah.
he was just friends with Keith Richards because he's just friends with a bunch of aging
Oh, all
rock
these,
stars. Yeah.
any
Mhm.
of these people who you just imagine are the dirtiest people to exist are friends with Johnny Depp.
It's Alice Cooper and Joe Perry.
Joe Perry
from
from
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith. Sure.
Mm,
Okay.
right.
Wow.
The name derives from the Hollywood Vampires, a celebrity drinking club formed by Cooper in the 1970s, which included but was not limited to John Lennon, Ringo Starr, Harry Nilsson, Keith Moon, and Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees.
We're the
Wow.
vampires, aren't we, mate?
We're the Hollywood vampires. Yeah,
Yeah, we are.
Sounds like a My
Okay,
Chemical Romance
cool.
B-side.
Mike, it 100%
Power
is.
vampires, yeah. It's about that society, but yes.
Gerard Way should join this band.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I guess they're sometimes joined by Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses. So it's just a bunch of old like
No
hair
idea.
metal
Rockers at party.
geezers. Yeah.
And they let Johnny go up there and pretend to strum around. And
Yeah.
fucking
Right.
go like, yeah.
But yeah, that's Keith Richards on set, getting drunk.
Hey
we
man,
love to see it.
he's unbreakable.
He's a
Still
miracle of modern science,
is.
of modern
Still alive.
medicine.
Do you guys remember those articles where he would use one of those blood recycling machines?
No, wow, he is
No.
a vampire.
He would plug
sounds right,
himself
though.
in and like have his blood like recycled out from his liver so that he could like drink and do more drugs and shit.
Dang,
I
bro.
like to think he's somehow like the opposite of my grandfather, who lived to 99 and a half. He was a teetotaler. He didn't drink, he didn't smoke, and he
Mhm.
attributed that to his long life of that he just didn't do that at all his whole life. I think Keith Richards is the opposite, that he just did so much of it that he just somehow cheated God or cheated
He's
death.
found
That
another
must be
gear.
frustrating.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
see that work that hard and see somebody else just throw it all out the window and get as much as you get must be frustrating.
Well, that's
Right.
life ain't fair, but it is funny that like he probably died at one point, and it's like on the checklist, and he came back and like, no, we got him right, and then God's like, wait a minute, wait,
Yeah, no, he's up here. What do you mean he's not up here?
What?
Mike,
He's in a
that's a
Pirates
really
movie.
funny plot for a movie where you're the angel of death who has to
Right.
go recollect Keith
Or it's
Richards.
like Final
That
Destination,
is really
Now.
good.
where they
Yeah, you're
keep
like-
trying to get him with various Final Destination
Yes,
It's just
Yeah.
situations, but he just keeps
Yeah.
getting
Falls out of a
it somehow.
tree.
that's
Nope.
great.
Couldn't get
Yeah.
it.
What the fuck? He's truly unbreakable.
It's just like
That
Mr.
would be
Magoo
great.
stumbling through life.
Yeah.
And just
Much like Jack
amazing
Sparrow in
moments.
these.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
he saying? He
That's
still
amazing that-
tours?
So many of those guys are still alive. I mean, Mick Jagger, him.
Yeah.
Well, what's upsetting is the new batch of children that they all have, unfortunately.
Oh, sure. I don't
No.
even know anything about their
Oh,
children.
jeez.
Oh,
Yeah.
Robert De Niro, Mick Jagger in their 80s and 90s.
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
what if I had a
right.
baby right now? Like, oh, great.
Yeah, I'll be dead by
cool.
the time they're 20, but
I'll be
Yeah.
dead by the time they're 2.
Well, they got my body of work to look back on. It's fine.
Right.
Yes.
They'll know me through my work.
Yeah.
all right. Next
Write
Okay.
a bunch of magazines. You'll know me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next question.
Yeah.
Keira Knightley has never seen this full movie. She never saw the full movie. True or false?
Locked in.
Lock them in.
Yeah, I'm locked
3,
in.
2, 1. Reveal.
Say
True.
true to that.
Okay.
True. That is true.
Yeah.
So she apparently, due to exhaustion, she fell asleep at the premiere. I
Mhm.
don't blame you. And then she says that she never buys her movies on DVD or never watches them after that first watch at the premiere. So she's never seen the full movie.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, would you watch your own movies? Like, would you own the Blu-ray? You know?
No, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing
Yeah.
myself on video. I don't like hearing my voice
Yeah.
I was
recorded.
about to say, do you guys listen to these episodes of this podcast? I'll check them for quality control every once in a while, but other than that, no.
No, I
no
do.
way.
I do the edit.
Yeah, I don't listen
Yeah.
to them.
But you all should keep
I listen
listening
to you
and
guys when you
recommend
talk.
to a friend. Yeah. Exactly.
Can we real quick before we move on here? Can we have a wrap up on Kira, since this is essentially her saying goodbye to the franchise?
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
What
Well-
are we? How are we feeling for her?
I wish she wore the hat, swashbuckling hat outfit more.
The
That's right.
Chinese hat.
No, not that one. The Pirates 2
Not that
outfit.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, sure.
Her boy clothes.
She seems to only do Hulu movies that are about period pieces on reporting. Like she did that Boston Strangler movie.
Mhm.
Jacob, of course, taught me that she was Academy Award nominated for inventing the
twice
Turing
nominated
machine.
Oscar
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
actress.
God. Yeah, good for her.
I mean,
But it feels like she's disappeared, doesn't
well, I
it?
don't know what. Yeah, I don't really know what she's doing now. I mean, she was in like real movies for a while, like Pride and Prejudice. You know, I feel like she did a lot of period pieces, but
And she never got the Academy Award, right?
no, she was twice nominated, never
Yeah.
won. But I think
I
she's a
wonder
better
if she's
actress
given up
than
on that, though.
Orlando Bloom.
I think she's really matured. Obviously, she was a model. She came into this at fucking 18 years old. Like, it is so fucking hard to judge the work that she's doing in this. And I think for those stats, she's incredible. And I think now she's very serviceable. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Atonement, another period piece type movie that she was in.
Yeah.
But there, she's just overshadowed by Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah, and her fucking debut performance, getting
Yeah.
Academy Award nominated, like that is a
Saoirse Ronan
wild.
four times nominated now.
That's so brutal. That's
yeah.
crazy. If you're Keira Knightley, you're like, Jesus Christ, they love that little girl.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, how do you know she's also in? According to your background decor, people watching the video, she was in the Nutcracker in the Four Realms. So.
Mike, I've seen that movie, and
I haven't. I'm just looking at IMDb.
So that she plays the Sugar Plum Princess or Fairy or whatever.
The fact that you knew it was Sugar Plum, yes, good work.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, she get a bonus point.
Love Actually, when she like cheated on her husband with Rick from The Walking Dead.
The least romantic movie.
You're in love with me, aren't you, Rick?
Yeah.
What about Michonne?
She would tell J4, my husband, I'm going to cheat on him with Andrew Lincoln. Anyways.
Oh, there's a walker over there. Run.
She's Carl's mom?
Carl's right, she is. Carl,
yeah.
we got to go. My son's here.
Where are those poster boards, Carl? All right. Yeah, I think she's fine.
You are always special, Carl.
Stop eating the
Dad,
chocolate pudding.
put this down. We got to go.
Bill Nye also in that movie, right?
Hey, good call.
Sure. And
anyway,
Dawn of the Dead, a zombie movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Of course.
Come on, Jake.
All right. Next question, and this is about Keira Knightley too. Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley were both nominated for Razzies for this movie.
Oh,
you know what? Locked in.
I'm locked in.
Yeah.
Lock them in. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
Unfortunately,
I'm
true.
saying false. I think it's one of them.
That,
okay.
Mike, you got it. I was trying to trick you.
It. Good work.
Orlando Bloom was nominated for worst supporting actor for the Razzies. Keira Knightley was not nominated.
I'm happy to lose this. I'm happy she was
that
not
she was not.
Trick you guys. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the Razzies. I think they're unnecessarily mean. I think they punch down sometimes. Like, no one's out here trying to make a bad movie, and it just feels like I just don't like them. So they pick a lot of easy targets. It seems like a lot of times. Like, I get
the punching down, but I think if we're going to, acknowledge great accomplishment, we need to call out bad effort. But
it's a lot of times not even bad acting.
Yeah,
it's
nothing
just,
wrong with critiquing, but
it's just like, what's the hot pick for like a bad, like a
mean spirit to it.
Yeah, that's a different thing, but interesting. But I didn't think they had it in them to do it to Keira for this, and I don't think for this movie. I think she's just service. She's fine,
Is Orlando that bad?
Is he the worst? Yeah, it's like
this was the only Pirates movie that he was nominated for a Razzie for. So why this one over like the first one? I feel like he was a lot more stiff and like not.
I don't know, man. He does feel like he has the least amount of charisma. When you're losing out to Wooden Eyeball Man, as far as like impact and memorable scenes.
But Mike,
were you talking about Mackenzie Crook, the original Dwight from The
script is not servicing anyone there. We have this movie that is about, will this love story connect? Mm-hmm. And when the guy says only someone who has love in their heart can say this thing, and you're like, okay, Orlando Bloom's finally gonna prove it. Keira Knightley will see it and be so won over because she knows his words are for her. Mm-hmm. They will reconcile. And instead, when it's Mackenzie Cook, Jacob, you're like, what are we doing here? This is so crazy.
We don't spend any time on the love story.
Well, again, like you said, this movie, the main character is Elizabeth Swann. The first movie, the main character, I feel like, was Orlando Bloom.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
Yeah.
Or Will Turner. Jack Sparrow is always a major supporting character, but never the main character, I would argue, in this trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Second movie, I don't know who the main character is. I guess
I'd argue maybe Jack in that one, and then this one is the Elizabeth.
Yeah, that tracks.
So there you go.
Interesting. All right.
All right, so let's see. 3 more questions.
Okay, it's 3 to 4. Right. I have a 1 point.
3 to 4. All right.
Hands for me to catch up here.
Mm-hmm.
Barbosa was originally going to die in the climax of this movie? Barbossa was originally going to die. True or false?
I'm ready.
I'm locked on.
All right.
Lock him in. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
I'm gonna
False.
go false on that.
All right.
You guys got it. I was trying to trick you.
No.
Okay.
That was false. Made that one up.
They wouldn't bring
They
him
would-
back
they
just
wouldn't
to kill him
kill him.
again.
It would not have been
Yeah.
cool, Mike. I
Mm.
would have been upset about
Mm-mm.
that.
Yeah.
He's like,
Um.
of anything in these movies as they continue, he's like the best part of them as
Yeah.
we watch. Yeah.
And he is in the fourth movie, to spoil a little bit for you.
Yeah.
So it's not the last of Barbossa.
I don't remember that. That's wild.
Yeah.
Huh.
Cool. Well, then there we go. Something worth watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Barbossa and Jack Sparrow are in the fourth one. And then I
Great.
think either fourth or fifth. I can't remember.
I think he's in 5. I can't with Javier Bardem
Yeah.
running around, but
Might have
it's
been 5. Yeah.
only seen that once.
All right. Next question.
Mm-hmm.
Another Barbossa question.
Hell yeah.
Johnny Depp gave Barbossa his first name. True or false? And do you recall what
Oh,
his first name is?
he 100% out loud says Hector.
Hector
in this.
Barbossa.
And he says, when he sees him, he says, Hector. He says, last time, that's the scene that we complimented. Last time I saw you, I shot you. No, I didn't.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't
Hector.
remember that.
So,
Nice.
But is he just improving that on set? Okay.
True or false?
Okay. I'm here.
Lock him in. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
I'll say true to that.
True.
You both
Yeah.
got it right. That is true.
Yeah,
So
that's funny.
He said jokingly on the commentary for Black Pearl, and Colin, I know you've been doing a thing with Letterboxd where you're watching the commentary
Yes,
movies of the
yeah.
old DVDs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've been liking reading your reports on the
Mhm.
different commentaries. I thought this was interesting, but he said it on the commentary track for Black Pearl as a joke that his first name was Hector for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
which the fans then took as canon. So then the writers were like, well, I guess his name's Hector now. So
So
they just
is
called
it
him Hector.
Johnny and Gore on the first? I'm excited to get. I have the
I
Pirates
wonder.
on DVD.
Oh,
So
wow.
Yeah.
I'll have to
If
see.
you get to
That's
that
funny.
point, yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
All right.
All right, last question.
So this is the swing. It's still a 1-point difference, but if
Wow,
we answer differently, there's a chance. Yeah.
we could tie it. You could tie it.
Mm-hmm.
We could end on a tie.
We could split the peanut.
This is the only film in the Pirates franchise not to come out in a year when a Fast and Furious came out. True or false?
This is fun.
Boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what else were you seeing that year in 2007, Jacob? You were sitting down. You're saying, "What's Dom Toretto up to?" No, this would have been like.
I don't know the
Well, and
years.
think about
for
it.
those.
All 5 Pirates movies, did they come out in a year where Fast and Furious came out?
Right.
Was
But
this the
this
only
one,
that didn't?
I feel like we would have been like Tokyo drifting by this point. I feel like they wouldn't have even figured that out yet. So
No,
I think
yeah.
I'm locked where I'm going.
I'm locked
All
here.
right. Lock them in. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
Going
I said
balls.
true because I think we maybe have already done a Tokyo Drift. Maybe in
Oh, okay.
2006. That's my guess.
That is true.
Ah, damn it.
Sorry, Colin.
03,
Damn it.
07,
My
07,
peanut.
Mike, good work.
11, and 17. All 4 of those, a Fast and Furious came out. No Fast and Furious came out in 07. So in 03,
Ah,
yes. 06,
okay.
yes.
Okay,
11, yes.
interesting.
17, yes. Not in 07. So it's the only time
Okay.
it came out in a year where Fast and Furious did not come out.
Wow. And
So there you go.
that was 06 for Tokyo Drift. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kernel of pointless information.
And then it's Fast 4, Fast 5, whatever they're called.
Fast forward.
Yeah. So there you go.
Wow.
And
At
fucking
quiz's end.
Vin
Mike
Diesel's
wins.
at Universal going like, you got to pump money into the Fast and Furious franchise. I mean, Disney's not even doing pirates anymore. The future is cars going fast. And you're
Mhm.
like,
Yeah,
he's
and
kind
this
of
is
right.
sort of right
Yeah.
before they
the
became
moon.
what they would become, because Tokyo
Yeah.
Drift. Well, he was in the very end of that movie as like a cameo.
He's coming back.
Famously, just to get the rights for Riddick. That's what his cost
Right.
was.
Mike
But-
loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I still love that movie because it's the introduction of Han, the best character.
That's a great movie. We're not even here to
Yeah.
argue.
No.
That's a good third film, better than this movie we watched today.
Sure.
Yeah, and much better runtime. But yeah,
Drift. What's
Drift.
Drift?
Yeah.
But
I'm
that
I'm
is
the Karate Kid.
Pod Rats of the
It is the
Caribbean
Karate Kid.
Dead Man's at Quiz's End.
At Quiz's End. Calypso's Quizlipso's Revenge.
Quizlipso's Wrath.
Quizlipso's Wrath. Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
gonna just
Well,
call
Wrath
it that
of-
from now on. I think
If
it's a
they'd
better
done it
title.
Wrath of Khan style, Wrath of Calypso, that would have been pretty cool.
yeah.
Because think about the name At World's End. That only describes the first like 40 minutes of this movie when they go
Is
to
that
World's
what that
End.
is? I don't understand
guess.
it.
That's the end of the
Yeah.
flat world. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Up
Yeah.
is down is up.
I guess you say it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the end of the time of piracy, the world of piracy, because the
Mhm.
borders are being drawn in on the map or
Is
whatever.
this movie the only time they ever use the phrase cartography and maps in general, basically?
I mean,
Um,
It doesn't seem like
maps
the
are
other two are very
popular.
No
map
idea.
focused.
I mean, maybe in 4 or 5.
They're magic compass focused, not map focused.
The word map is used, but it's not like a map is actually being used. Like,
Yeah.
I need a MacGuffin that is called map, but we don't use it as map, really, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right.
Can you tell me what is the title of the next one? I cannot remember.
On Stranger Tides.
Right, which is of course a famous pirating tale. So
it?
that's at least
I didn't
tied
know
into
that.
that. Yes.
Okay. They should have called this one
Say
in a
so.
bottle of rum.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean in a
Yo
bottle of
ho.
rum.
Yo ho ho.
All
We have
right.
On
Alright.
Stranger Tides and then Dead Men Tell No Tales, which to me sounds too similar to Dead Man's Chest.
I
agree.
They
I
should have
already
called it
argued
something
this.
else.
The film is called
Yeah.
Salazar's Revenge in my mind,
Salazar's
and apparently
Revenge.
one country in Europe.
Salazar's
Yeah,
Wrath.
I guess that was the alternate
That's
international
by
name. that they used.
Berenstain Bears effect. I remember
Yes.
it being released as Salazar's Revenge.
Yes.
Right.
It's
On
insane.
Stranger Tides is next, which we will talk about at the end of February, leap
Mhm.
year.
That's
We're
right.
going to leap into the future of this franchise.
And the final thoughts will leap into there right now. Let's just
That's right, I
rock
should've
this
said
boat
that.
left and right, and left, and there we go.
Why does he have to act like it's a trick? Why can't he just say this is what we're doing? Why does he have to go, what's that in the distance?
I don't know.
Because he's goofy Jack Sparrow.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. The boat has fully flipped. We're back in our dimension. The green flash has gone off. The shark men have been turned back into normal people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Jacob, you
Yeah.
stabbed that heart of Davy Jones. We all feel very
Aw,
bad
man.
about that.
Yep,
You
yep.
know, you had to do it. It is what it was, my man. So
You're right,
good
but I have
luck.
a cool bandana that I'm wearing
Yep.
now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh my
So-
god.
This is Gore. Sit down. I'm allowed to go off
Yeah.
the jade now. I can be as
I'm the
cool as
captain
I
of the
want.
Flying Dutchman.
I'm
like
the
a
fucking
Black
captain
bandana.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
He fully
Orlando,
Captain
Look at
Phillips
me.
to Gore Verbinski.
Orlando
I'm the
really
captain
bloomed.
now.
Finally.
That's right. He bloomed. Do you
He
guys
bloomed.
like Legolas as a character better or Will Turner as a character?
That's an incredible question.
That actually
now
is.
let's think about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is
Because
great.
when we did that first film, we were all like, it's crazy that he popped because he only has 2 lines. Do you remember that when we sort of made that
Yeah.
discovery in Fellowship of the Ring?
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember
And-
when he's in The Hobbit and we hated it.
And then you
Yes.
remember, yes,
Yeah.
him coming back and destroying any goodwill he had for that franchise.
Mhm.
Right.
But you think about that first appearance in Curse of the Black Pearl, where I mean, he's just playing the blandest, straight edge little fop boy. I don't know.
I would say
Yeah.
Will Turner is more of a character than Legolas. in
He's
that
more
like more of a
dynamic.
main character, but Legolas is
Yeah.
more of just like a cool guy that stands around while Aragorn
But-
and
But
Yeah.
if so
talks.
many of Legolas's final scenes, Jacob, in like the last 2 movies, were him at dinner tables discussing how he's betraying the good guys back and forth, you would hate that character.
Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah.
enough character damage done to Will Turner that nobody could ever find him enjoyable.
I think
Right.
the romance between Legolas and Gimli is a lot more believable than the romance between Elizabeth Swan and
I
Will
agree.
Turner.
I
Right?
agree.
Romance.
Better
Yeah.
chemistry, Mike.
Much
They
better
have
chemistry.
better
There's much more
chemistry.
charming. Yeah, he's
I
much
do
better.
like, yeah.
Interesting
Him and Gimli
point.
together puts Legolas over the edge. And you know I'm a bow guy. I've
He's
always
more
been a bow
charming in
guy.
that
Now,
role. Just
John Rhys
Yeah.
Davies as a pirate in this. That would have been pretty good. I would have
Mm.
liked that.
that would have been good.
Yeah.
Treebeard. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the you know what let's talk a little bit more about some final things we would have maybe wished for wrapping up this, because you think so much again about that first one. He had that blacksmith teacher who didn't like him or whatever. The quest was obviously to find that dad or whatever. But you know what I was thinking this whole time, because we still get those scenes of like Norrington gets the famous sword, then Davy Jones later steals it from him and like looks at the sword and stuff. I would have liked that sword to be given a name in the first movie, and I would have liked that to carry across for somebody to be like, you have the winged steel, or you have the cutlass, or whatever they would have.
The Cutlass
called it.
Supreme.
That sword
is name it after the
a
car.
major part in this movie, where it's like it's passed back to Norrington, and then Davy Jones is like, nice sword.
I think
and then Will should get it.
Critique you can maybe give to the world building that this film accomplishes. We all kind of agreed over the course of the discussion of like, what is this 9 pieces of 8 bullshit? Like, get this fucking shit out of here.
Right.
Build up the mythos you already had. I would like to see you guys capitalize on like, let's talk about why the Black Pearl is the only ship that can outrace the Dutchman. I think that's cool just to say it, but I'd love to know why that is.
Well, and with Will being this like master blacksmith, he never does any blacksmithing again in the whole movie.
There could have been a point where he tempered some steel to fix a thing on the boat in a way that nobody ever could have done it. Like, he's a true shipwright, not even just like a blacksmith. Like, Jacob, you're so right. They could have like, once again, and my main complaint of like the rug pull that this film does to be like, you love Elizabeth Swann and you know what character she is. She's a badass and like 5 other new things in this movie. It's like, no, you're not being honest to these people. And if you had given Will Turner a payoff to who his roots were, that wasn't just, oh, I'm so sad, I'm looking for my daddy all the time. Or if you had given Elizabeth something that made her more of a strong, powerful force, opposed to just being like, oh, there's my papa in the water. Papa, where are you going, Papa?
Yeah.
You could have really said something. And this film wasn't interested in doing that.
No, I have a pitch, I guess, because the thing is, he was a blacksmith, but like the drunk guy got all the credit. He was just the apprentice. Like, tell your master good work, but he's actually doing everything. So he returns and just is the head blacksmith now, and like he's making all the cool shit. And then also open the second movie with the little garden scene and him and Elizabeth. Oh, you're training. You're getting so much better, Elizabeth. Thank you, Will. I love you. Like he could be teaching her because he practices for 3 hours a day.
They needed the relationship drama from the last movie. They're not getting along. They're not talking.
That's what I mean, but you could have not done that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing my thing where Will ends up on the Dutchman in 2 and then you save him in 3, like that's
the scene in this movie where Will says, and remember, we're fighting, and I'm not even positive what we're fighting about, is such a slap in the face as an audience member, because you're like, oh, if you guys don't know what it is or care about it, why the fuck do you think I do? Like, just put an end to it.
Well,
that's because she kissed Jack for plot, right?
Yeah. It's like, you have different motivations than me, but I can't even remember why we're differing in our opinions, but that's the whole movie. That sums it up pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they didn't stick the landing. Yeah.
No.
But you're right. Just treat the characters, give them a natural arc instead of just
Again, I think Black Pearl as a standalone movie is still a great movie, and the sequels don't ruin it for me, but it didn't need to be a trilogy. Obviously, when it was a huge box office success, they were of course going to make more movies in the franchise, but to me, Black Pearl, the magic of that one movie, like, they couldn't really recapture it in the same way.
Lightning in a fucking bottle, lightning hitting a tree. If you're Jerry Bruckheimer's bumper, bumper.
Ship in a bottle. Exactly. The message in the bottle would be, stop here, don't make any more.
Yeah.
But I mean, they make a lot of money from them, but we'll see how these next 2 do financially and critically, right?
I am fascinated to have never seen the 4th one, to be going in blind.
I'm excited for you guys to see it and form some opinions.
Yeah. Jacob, you started this entire series sort of kicking off with the background Hollywood knowledge that pirate movies were dead in the water for this entire period of history, where it's like fucking Cutthroat Island, Poison the Well. It's over. Everything we tried to do.
Yeah.
I just want to point out and say, do we really know, or what was the boon that this inspired? Like, I'm trying to think, like, Master and Commander is a boat movie. I don't know when that was, but were there any other ones kind of inspired by this, or really is the legacy of this film just Disney being confident to make action boy brand stuff like Star Wars and Marvel?
That
Yeah.
and more than just pirate stuff, it seems like they took the lesson of, oh, we can adapt theme park attractions into
Right.
movies like Haunted Mansion, which they tried to do, of course, with
Jungle
the Eddie Murphy
Cruise.
one before this new one that they made.
Right.
Several
Jungle
times they've
Cruise, yeah. So
And Jungle
Yeah.
Cruise, have you guys seen that?
Mm-mm.
no,
That's a movie that's trying
The Rock.
so hard to be the Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, when
Oh,
they're
sure.
literally monster ghosts. You know, it's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
Of course, the first Haunted Mansion, I don't remember that movie too well, but
No,
pretty sure it wasn't very good. This
I love
new
the
Haunted
second
Mansion,
one. You guys don't.
you
You guys
loved
are
it.
wrong. Owen Wilson's the best.
I haven't
you guys
seen
are
it.
wrong.
I like the
I like
Muppet
Owen
one.
Wilson. Yeah, Muppet Haunted Mansion was
I
good.
weighed giving him an Academy Award nomination for the Colin Awards this year. I was like,
Oh,
do I
wow.
want to give
Gosh.
him Best Support?
For Loki season 2, maybe.
Oh wow, yeah.
Maybe. Ride that jet ski in Ohio.
Yeah, this really didn't. Yeah, exactly. Shout out to Ohio. Yeah, it didn't really spawn any pirate stuff though, huh? It was
No,
just
I
this-
can't think of any contemporaries.
I will
that
say
are, like,
Master and
knockoffs.
Commander.
Maybe
I love that
Assassin's
movie.
Creed went piratey because of this potentially, but
Sure.
I'd have to
If
check
you
the
haven't
dates.
seen,
Black Sails the show. Yeah, maybe even.
Yeah,
might-
Black
Yeah.
Sails. There's some like Viking type shows that were similar, I guess. But if you haven't seen Master and Commander, that's a great movie. You should go out and watch that, Normies.
But I gotta
love
watch
it.
Yeah.
Napoleon. You know.
Yeah, Napoleon. But Master and Commander, you got Russell Crowe, our favorite, and then you got
Yeah,
Paul
other Guido
Bettany,
Sarducci.
our other favorite from
Oh,
Knight's
you know what,
Tale.
Jacob? Thank you for saying that. You know
Yes.
what the one line Jack Davenport says where he's like, our fates were twisted or whatever, and he kind of whispers it or whatever. I was thinking, if Paul Bettany wasn't the Vision, Jack Davenport would have been an incredible Vision, don't you think? I thought he would have done a really good job at that.
Yeah, they just need like a proper British guy.
He's in the Disney family. Yeah.
A whispery, smiley British man. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
did
I like
Knight's Tale.
ships. I like ship movies. Well, there was that Star Trek where they were on a ship in the first scene.
Well, yeah, that's not.
promotion.
That
I'm
definitely
not
was
counting.
influenced by this. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
But do you
think
guys
so.
like ships? Are you ship people?
I'm not really a ship
You're
person.
not a ship person.
Not
You're
boat
a
ships,
seafaring
space
Well,
ships.
I've
Mm-mm.
had to argue 5,000 times that I don't like pirate stuff, even though I'm sitting here with like One Piece is my favorite thing in the world. I love this
Right.
cartoon Pirates of Dark Water as a kid. I have all these
Mhm.
toys behind me that are from that original franchise. This film that we're talking about. No, I don't. That's the thing. It's like, do I want more pirating stuff to exist? I don't know. I don't know. That
Like, what do you
I
do?
don't. Yeah.
Treasure
But
Planet.
practically shooting on a boat is cool. I don't know what you would make on that now.
Yeah.
I like ships in that I like spaceships in sci-fi, and that's a very
Yeah.
similar concept. I like anything that has like a captain and a crew going around having
Mhm.
adventures, like Star Trek.
Is there
Uh,
a Doctor Who where they've done some pirate stuff yet, Jacob, that you've watched?
Oh yeah, I think I showed you guys after the Black Pearl episode, the Matt Smith episode where they do the black spot. They go to
Oh,
Yes.
you did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
That's
you
right. On the
remember
Who's
that?
Who
We'll
report.
maybe talk about that a little more.
which
Also,
is very
we're also
yeah.
as you say, we'll maybe talk about another Disney pirate thing that we talked about at one point. Didn't this film kind of feel like it had a cabin fever moment? Didn't people just start, Johnny Depp maybe start singing with some Muppets?
Basically,
Yeah.
yes. Yes.
We should have seen like a Muppet version of himself in the
Yes, that would have been
Oh.
really
locker.
good.
That actually would have
But
been good.
What,
I just want
mate?
to say that Doctor Who episode, really interesting like twist in that episode, basically. So check that out, Normies. If you're a Whovian like myself,
And it's like straight up, it's Billy Bones. It's like a full Treasure Island rip, or no?
no, it's they go
Okay.
back and they meet this guy named Roger Avery or something, which I think may be a real pirate or
I
or
think,
not.
I think so.
But of course, with most Doctor Who episodes, when they go back in the past, there's some kind of supernatural thing that then ends up being actually a sci-fi thing where it's some kind of
It wasn't a
alien.
ghost, it was a Clogon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's essentially
Great.
that, but the twist is very interesting. But it is dealing with the black spot, where if you get cut or injured in any way, you get a black spot, and then this like sea demon comes and kills you. Basically, it's like this siren it's like this beautiful woman.
Did they ever
Okay.
do the black spot in this franchise? I'm kind of shocked that that's one thing they left on the table.
Yeah, they did in Dead Man's
Oh.
Chest. Remember?
Oh, okay, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yes, I'm sorry. It's all already gone.
Yeah. No, it's gone.
Completely
Right.
lost to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they do mermaids and
I-
sirens at all? Because I didn't see the fourth one.
We're gonna get up
Well,
to it.
Okay.
Yeah,
stay
we'll
tuned.
Okay,
maybe
okay.
Yeah.
maybe stay tuned, Mike. But
Keep
just
that
here's my final
line
thought
out
here.
there.
In the same way that the Harry Potter films are out of my head after I do my annual rewatch, where I'm like, oh yeah, this does happen in this whenever. When I watch those, I am like eager to get back to them.
Mhm.
This is another one where I suggested this, so I apologize to you guys, but we were doing the Pirates franchise.
Yes.
And now when it wraps up, I kind of feel like I'm going to be like, okay, I can let those lie again for a couple more years. See ya. Goodbye, Pirates.
After this, it'll likely just be The Curse of the Black Pearl going forward. I don't
Yeah.
really have
Yep.
an appetite to watch any of the other ones. Yeah.
No.
Even if I have
I'm
a jar of
excited
dirt.
for 4 and 5 just to get your guys' reactions. I think that'll be fun. And then
Mhm.
I'm really excited once we wrap up this series. We already decided what we're doing
Yes.
next, which
Yeah,
we won't
what a
spoil now,
tease.
but
No.
What
very
but
excited to get into
listeners,
that. Yeah.
Mike and Jacob cooked up something great. I'll
This
just
is-
say,
Yeah.
and got us
So
all
get ready.
very
In
excited.
a couple months.
We're
it's gonna be
very
great.
excited about it. Yes.
It's going to be bananas in my
Yeah, we named the monkey
Up to you
Jack.
Oh, yeah.
guys.
This
Yeah.
shit is bananas.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got 2 more of these. We'll see how it goes. And next week, I believe we're doing a kicked back whatcha, because we this is
Yes.
280, but we wanted to get this in on time, and so we're
That's
doing
Yeah,
right.
Whatcha next week.
280. Wow.
Look at
We're
us.
entering
Yeah.
into February, the second month of 2024.
Wow.
Boy.
And yeah, and as of pre-editing, we're still 15 minutes shorter than the actual movie. So there we go.
There we go.
I'm
Let's
going
talk
to make
for
this
another 15
prediction.
minutes.
In 2024, we're going to get some Pirates news. They're going to lock down what they're doing with this franchise.
Oh, yeah.
And I bet by
Well-
the end of the year, a trailer or something.
Huh.
I know they already have said like
Young
Jack
Jack
Sparrow
Sparrow?
will not be in the
Oh.
next Pirates of the Caribbean because of the whole obviously Johnny Depp fallout of everything in his personal life that's going on, where he got
Well, you have to do the James Bond will return, but you have to do Jack Sparrow will not return. That's when you know
Yeah.
your franchise is doing good.
Yeah.
But they essentially said, we're moving on from Jack Sparrow, but there will
Yeah.
be, they are developing something, I guess.
Maybe Margot Robbie, it's sounding like.
Like an Anne Bonny little
Yeah,
thing?
like
that would
she
be
would
cool.
be, yeah,
That's
like
what
the
she
Pirate
does.
Queen or something.
Post
Yeah.
Barbie, biggest star in the world. Let me do the 6th Pirates of the Caribbean.
That would be
movie.
pretty sad. That would
Yeah.
be pretty desperate.
yeah,
Yeah.
She
might be
doesn't
trying
need
to
a
get out of that.
vehicle.
But Jacob,
Yeah.
I would appreciate that over her being like, and I'm Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four. Like, no,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
no,
for
no,
sure.
no.
Yeah.
You don't
Interesting.
need that.
If you made this
Yeah,
again
we'll
with the
see.
Dune cast, you have Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya as Elizabeth and Will Turner. It'd probably work out. You know?
Yeah.
Yo, Mike, that movie would be fucking great.
Yeah, you know.
The
right there.
fop
Get the whole
little
Dune
outfit
cast.
Timothy would show up in at the end of
man.
the movie. It would have like the Willy Wonka top hat. You'd
Well,
be
then you
like,
have
oh,
Tom
wow.
Holland be Will Turner, and then
Yes.
yeah, Timothy Chalamet is
Oh,
the
and
Jack
then
Sparrow
Timmy's Jack.
character.
Mike,
Sure.
Hey.
this is
First of all, you're
Hey.
getting like
This
every
is
big
good.
name young actor.
If you wanna
actor
do
that's
it,
gonna
do
be in
it.
this movie.
Yeah.
But that's basically Dune Part 2.
You're basically
uh,
pitching the 5th film in this franchise.
Yeah, basically, yeah, just
Yeah.
with better casting.
Well, I think I said
Yeah.
before, to foreshadow a little bit, in both of these next movies, there is I believe, a Will and Elizabeth stand-in, where there's
Yes.
a young man,
I know in
and a
5.
young woman love interest that
Mhm.
will be sort of the stand-in to complement the Jack Sparrow, who's obviously still in these. So
Mhm.
it'll be very interesting to see what you guys think of those movies.
Indeed. All right. Well, we'd be interested in knowing what you think about these movies too, dear listeners, dear viewers and readers.
That's right.
Yeah, we
So
hope
let
you're
us know.
following along on Disney Plus, where all these have been available. If you are,
Mhm.
let us know at Normies_. Like_us, where you can tell us the tales of your pirating adventures. Do write tales. You're not dead men.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know where you are in the world. You're not at world's end.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you're
That
at
good
the
stuff.
Tortuga.
Check us out
ideally.
on the high seas of YouTube. R.
Yeah,
Yes.
people pirate this podcast, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't help
Pirate
us.
these
Just
movies
pirate it.
if you want to.
Hector
Yeah.
Barbosa
Pirate the
commented.
movies. Do not pirate this podcast.
Yeah.
We will come down on
You
you.
have to pay to watch
We'll
this.
come down here with the force of the East India Podcasting Company.
Yes,
Watch out.
yes.
Yeah,
Just good business.
it's just good
I
business.
have the heart of Apple Music, and I command it as my beast.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yes.
God.
Oh, I love
He
it.
owns the seas. All right. Well, we've been your hosts. This is, you know what? Yeah, I'll just be Colin Turner.
I'll be Mikey Jones or Mikey Jones, like this
Mikey
podcast.
Jones.
And this is our Hector Cabosa.
Hey.
Wow.
All right.
Bye.
Yo ho and a bottle of rum. Bye-bye.
Arg.
Do you fear the end of the podcast?